Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
KFXX KWJJ HD2 Portland. An Odyssey sports station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, unanimous #1 Oregon hosting Maryland tomorrow as they look to stay undefeated on the season. 4 o'clock kick on the Big Ten Network. Our coverage tomorrow begins at 9 a.m. with the Sinner and the Saint Tailgate Show. Then at noon, Ducks Game Day live from outside Autzen Stadium. And stick around throughout the game and after network coverage for the Ducks post-game scoreboard show. The Ducks are 24-point favorites. Oregon State continuing their quest toward bowl eligibility, hosting San Jose State tomorrow, 12:30 kick on the CW. The Beavers are 3-point favorites. In the NFL, Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson says it's likely Trevor Lawrence will miss Sunday's game against the Vikings due to a shoulder injury. Mac Jones would start in his place. Bills coach Sean McDermott ruling out rookie receiver Keon Coleman Sunday against the Colts due to a wrist injury. Amari Cooper is questionable with a wrist injury of his own. Titans coach Brian Callahan says quarterback Will Levis set to make his return Sunday against the Rams after missing the last 3 games with a grade 2 AC joint sprain of his right shoulder. And on the hard court, the Trailblazers wrap up their road trip tonight in Minneapolis against the Timberwolves. Matisse Thybulle still out, waiting to make his season debut. 6 o'clock tip on K2 Channel 2.2 and Xfinity Channel 302. The Blazers are 12.5-point dogs. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Fan Merch Locker has a new long-sleeve tee and hoodies in your favorite college colors. Get yours now at 1080thefan.com. It's time for a noon kick.
Let's go, babe. Come on, let's have some fun, man.
This is Danny and Dusty on Football Friday.
You gotta see it. You gotta see it.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app, follow 1080 The Fan, and enable push notifications to get the latest on the Ducks, Beavers, Blazers, and more.
Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Good afternoon! Hey! Happy Football Friday! Football. Hello to all that celebrate, which is everyone, because you kind of have to. There's no choice. It's a Football Friday. Let's go. Let's go. Great weekend of football ahead of us.
A Yacht Rock Football Friday. Let's not bury the lead here.
Yeah. Of course, Yacht Rock Football Friday. Nothing goes together like football and Yacht Rock.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is.
Like peanut butter and leather.
You said it, my man.
Peanut butter and leather.
You said it right
Just
there.
chewing on it.
Golly. God, nah. Yep, Yacht Rock Football Friday. Like, catch the fever. Like Metal Monday, that works with football.
Yeah.
Even Wrestling Wednesday, that works with football season. Yacht Rock Friday leading you into the intense sport of football.
Do we need to flip Metal Monday to Metal Friday?
No.
No? Okay.
Because then you lose the alliteration,
Yeah.
you know? That's a big part of it.
Yacht Rock Friday?
Well, Football Friday. You lose the alliteration of Metal Monday.
Yes, you do lose the alliteration of
It's very rude and it's very nasty.
of Metal Monday. All right. Oh, man. Everybody have a good Thursday, huh?
Indeed.
We bouncing around? Everything's good?
I'm good.
Everything's good in this world. We're already starting. It is no school November, right? A lot of kids not having school already.
Wait, why?
Well, it's like this is when all the in-services happen.
Yeah.
I was new to no school November until my kids got into school, and I was like, wait, that's a thing?
Well, Monday is Veterans Day.
Yeah, this Monday
Right.
is Veterans Day.
And then Thursday and Friday, my second grader, their
Yeah.
school doesn't have, they're out because they're doing parent-teacher conferences.
Yeah, you got conferences going on, and also there's some, like some schools are doing it today where they got no school, and that it's just like, and then you roll into like Thanksgiving where some district they don't even have school like the whole week.
The whole week. No, yeah, that's Beaverton.
You guys don't have school the entire
Not the
week.
entire week.
And
When I
then
was a kid, we only had Thursday and Friday off for Thanksgiving break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Kids these days.
yeah.
They're so soft.
And they were like, "You be thankful you get Friday off."
right?
You You little hellion. It's like
And now we're
now
in-
they're just like, yeah, just don't go to school, and then you come back for 2 weeks, and then you get Christmas break. You're just gone all the time.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, like you got all these grading days and
We didn't
Veterans
we didn't
Day,
we
which
didn't have
I
this many days off.
my senior year we just lopped off like half our school year.
Well, I mean that's different.
we had budget cuts.
Yeah, but I mean,
Hillsborough
that's-
School District really buttoned up with their
Yeah.
financials in 2003.
hey, we got to make this. We have a budget shortfall, so we're just going to cut school
Yeah.
short.
My neighbor was our principal. She lived like 3 houses down.
Mm-hmm.
Which really gets in the way of a high school kid having a party. Let me tell
Any
you
kind
what.
of fun. Yeah.
When your principal lives 3 houses away
Couldn't
from
even
you.
be like a cool
Oh,
teacher.
that had to be terrible.
Yeah, no, my principal is awesome.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You
Carol was great,
had a decent principal
but it's probably saved me.
from doing something that. very dumb.
Yeah. I mean, and it gave my parents like that blanket of comfort that
If they left, they were
even
fine.
you're dumb, you're not this dumb, and they were right.
Did you try to challenge him?
No, well, in several other ways. This was not one of them.
Okay.
I was smart enough not to have that, but I remember she pulled a few of us aside and said, "You guys need to understand. You guys are getting out in May because of budget cuts."
May.
The beginning of May.
Wow.
Yeah. You guys cannot have a senior skip day. I know that's a tradition. I know you guys would love to do
You're
it.
getting a month off.
You literally will not be in the classroom long enough if you have unexcused absences.
Mhm.
We're like, okay. She's like, you won't walk at graduation. You need to spread the word.
Because that seems like that's
Get it
getting
on out
awfully
there.
close to the the minimum number of education days required.
We were at the bare minimum. The entire, I think it was like right around October, we started lopping off 1 day every week. And then it was just like last month, boom, gone.
I had to. I
It was wild.
still don't know. Like,
That was awesome.
You had a
Yeah.
cool principal. I had a counselor who just didn't care. My second semester of my senior year, nobody noticed that I was missing the necessary health credit
Oh,
to graduate.
how about that?
So, like, I want to say a month before graduation, my counselor was like, "Hey, looking at your records here, you're a health credit short."
Oh.
And it's like, "Well, I can't take a class." He's like, "Yeah, you can't walk without it." And I was like, "What do you mean?"
How do you not take health?
Mm.
Oh. All right.
Oh,
I had one.
Golly.
I had one. Like I had one my freshman year, but I was supposed to take I was supposed to take back-to-back semesters, first and second semester. I was supposed to take health. Something ended up happening, and I got Jeff. You'll remember this. At Beaverton, they had the not the theater class, but it was like the behind the scenes
okay.
theater
sure.
arts, whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Like the-
well, I mean, I think they maybe changed it because
yeah.
I'm a little bit older than you.
Yeah, I know, but
we just
like-
had plain old drama.
Yeah, but I mean, this
But yeah.
it wasn't drama. It was like like lighting and.
Oh, okay.
I never signed up for it,
Gotcha.
but like that's where they ended up putting me because all of the health classes were full. Because your problem was they didn't have enough money. My problem was we didn't have enough space.
Mm.
We had like the portables outside, and
Yeah.
you had like 50 kids in a class because Beaverton was massive still then. But yeah, I had to go and CLEP a health class to walk.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Was
So,
Mr. Erickson still there, the drama teacher?
yeah, he was my
All right.
teacher. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out to Mr. Erickson.
Yeah,
Well,
I
he's
mean,
dead now.
Probably,
Rest in
yeah. I'm
peace.
saying super dead now.
Yeah.
Because
Rest in peace, Mr.
yeah,
Erickson.
Rest in peace,
he
James
was
Erickson.
super old when
Yeah.
when he was my teacher.
Yeah.
But yeah,
His heart probably exploded because he was not the calmest fellow on the planet.
no, he's a screamer.
Yeah. He was a big time
really?
screamer.
Oh, yeah.
He was,
Oh,
he was
yeah.
yelling.
Yeah.
Think of like the most like
Drama teacher that was yelling.
like campy like
What's that movie about the band guy who's the drummer guy? Come on. Just
Drumline?
came out. What? No,
Oh.
no. Just came out.
came
He was
out.
an a-hole like drum teacher. Come on.
Oh,
Like
oh
a few
yeah.
years ago.
Yes. It's
Was it
J.K.
Paul-
Simmons.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons.
And,
was Paul
um,
Giamatti in that?
Perhaps Whiplash.
Whiplash.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
didn't see it.
No, really?
Yeah.
All right, so this guy was a yeller?
Yeah, he would like he very emotional. Like think about like every time you see a movie and there's that person the director in the crowd that
Yeah.
wants to like go yes, 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 and then something's wrong. No, how dare you ruin? It's like
Yeah, so
the
he's like a football coach out there.
yeah, but like over the top theater performer /
Okay.
director. He was that.
He's that guy.
He cared.
Anything less than perfection, and he was not
Yeah.
happy.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
It made for interesting classes for sure. Because I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? I
Yeah.
have no interest in being here.
Yeah. Our drama teacher sucked. I didn't take any of their drama classes, but she had to teach English. There were kids she put us in these dumb tables that we had to sit at. I got a C, and I was like, why am I getting a C in this class? She's like, guilt by association. The kids around you are talking. I was like, that doesn't make sense at all.
That's not fair.
He's
Yeah.
getting degrees, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. So that sucked. That leaves a stain on me with all drama teachers.
Yeah,
Mr.
no,
Erickson
he
out there.
didn't suck. He was just a yeller.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah. All right. No school November. How about that?
Yeah, didn't know that was a thing.
It's a thing, man.
Yeah. So
It's a
I should
thing.
plan accordingly when that happens.
Yeah,
Okay.
like they're just
Oh, yeah.
never gonna be in school.
Yeah,
But by the
like
time
half
I
the month.
I say by the time I get there, that they just won't have school in November,
Mm-mm.
which is kind of funny. It's like
It
why
all
do we
just goes straight into Christmas break.
Well, it's like, why do we start in
Before
after
Labor Day?
Yeah, and it's like, and then all of a sudden we just we
Tell me something I
take
don't
2 months
know.
off.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
There's no school November. It's no school December too.
Yeah. Yeah.
They go to school for like 3 weeks over the span of 8.
Yeah, you sound old right now. So, this would be awesome when we were
Right?
kids.
I
It'd
know.
be great. It'd be fantastic.
I mean, I am old.
Yep.
I don't want to hear it.
Them's the breaks.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's real old.
Yeah, I know. Freaking Methuselah, the producer. over there.
Man. Brutal.
Oh, speaking of
Analog producer.
speaking of Methuselah, the producer, somebody I saw
hate you guys.
after the Dwayne Wade statue fiasco in Miami. Somebody, what was the one? Is Methuselah? Who's the one that had the snakes in her hair?
Medusa.
Medusa.
So close.
Not Methuselah.
No.
Somebody dropped the. What if the sculptors really weren't that great, and what if Medusa was just real?
Yeah, there you go.
You
Where's
know,
Lawrence
like
Fishburne?
what if all those great statues they weren't. Somebody just finally got to Medusa because you turned to stone if you looked at her snakes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
You
like-
looked at her. Yeah. Looked in her face.
Because we got modern technology, we can't perfect the statue now. That's the only explanation.
For how good those other ones are.
I was like, I'll be damned. I mean, I'm not going to buy it, but I'll
Yeah.
be damned if it didn't make me think for a fraction of a second, this may be real.
Yeah. What is it like all those Roman sculptors from the old days could do that people today cannot?
Yeah, well, have a bunch of time and no reference of what the people actually looked like. I think that's it right there.
I guess
It's
that's
like,
fair enough.
I mean, they were really damn good.
Fair enough.
And they could take as long as they wanted. And it wasn't like, give us a Dwayne Wade statue in 2 months and make it look just like Dwayne Wade.
and
Like,
that's still
all
how
right.
it turned out.
Yeah, awful. That
What
was
the-
awful.
What was the other one too? Was it Messi?
No,
No,
Ronaldo
Ronaldo.
at his own
Yes.
airport.
Oof.
At his own airport, which is a terrible thing to have named after you.
Yeah.
Like a highway, an airport.
Hey, I would take the Jeff Rust International Airport.
Yeah, until people's flights start getting delayed. Like, what if
Like it's my fault?
What if they renamed SFO Jeff Rust International Airport? That everybody knows. Don't take a flight in or out of SFO because you're gonna get delayed.
I mean, Vegas
not
Vegas
sitting there on those
is Harry
computers.
Reid, but I never associate. I just say I'm going to Vegas.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
LaGuardia, like the.
Well, see, you get to New York and you got a big city like that with multiple airports. Then yes, you got to call it like by the name.
But yeah, you have to
Because you got LaGuardia, you got JFK.
O'Hare
O'Hare.
in Chicago.
Mhm.
Yeah. But you got to name it after somebody where it's like, are you going to badmouth that airport? Like, how dare you're going to badmouth JFK?
Right?
You're going to do that? You're going to badmouth JFK?
I mean,
It's got to be somebody
the
who's
Oswald family will.
impenetrable.
Oh, jeez.
Do you think they're sitting there flying in like, nope, we're going to LaGuardia in this family?
Or you
Still.
just purposely
Like-
go to JFK.
Going to Newark.
Yeah.
Like, I put a bullet in your head and then I
Wow.
flew into your airport.
Jeez, the
I'm all up in your kitchen.
Goodness gracious. That was the most aggressive turn that we could have taken on that.
Do you think the
Uh,
Kennedys are like anybody with that last name was just banned from the airport? Just pre-banned.
You're
Sorry,
already on a no-fly
Sorry, you're on a
list.
no-fly list for this airport specifically.
I think so.
Did they maybe ban Bobby Jr. too?
Well,
Or sh-
no,
or
that's
should they?
how else is he supposed to smuggle dead animals around?
Good point. Private. Flies private. I mean, he's definitely flying private, I think.
Right?
When's the last time a Kennedy went in or out of JFK?
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, come on.
Come on.
Back and to the left.
That ain't happening.
Isn't that where the bullet landed?
Yeah.
That's where their seat is on the airplane.
We have a text in on the Vancouver Ford text line. If they rename SFO Jeff Rust International Airport, every time I fly through, I'm texting Rust, I am in you.
Yes. Perfect.
It's fantastic.
It'll all work out great.
Have you guys noticed this the trend of like back in the day before social media was a big deal, when you would go to a city where you knew where somebody else was, like a acquaintance or friend, you'd call them, hey, or you'd text them, hey, I'm there, like, oh yeah, and let's meet up, and it was like, we're not gonna meet up, but
Or perhaps you were taking pictures from 1,000 yards away.
It happens all the way. What?
What?
Oh, good lord.
Did
You know,
did
at a city where you know where someone was.
That's called stalking,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Oh.
Which
Protective
Florida
orders.
basketball.
Yeah.
That's a segue to a story
Yeah,
today. Florida
holy,
basketball. We
right?
got to talk about that today. That may be worst day on the web
It's
because Instagram was the culprit.
yeah. I mean, good lord. But like now, when you're like, hey, I'm in your city, and people just go, have fun.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like people don't even pretend to be like, yeah, let's meet up anymore.
Oh, dude, I tried to do that.
Sure.
Like I tried to meet up with my cousin when we went to Indiana,
Mhm.
right? Nope. It's just like, I've never been to Indiana before. You live here. And it was just like, yeah, we can't do this. I was like, yeah, it's tight window, tight turnaround.
Yeah.
We're not gonna.
The
We're not
great
gonna
thing
make
about
this happen.
Indiana, though, is all of their roads are just a grid.
Yeah,
It's very easy to drive around there.
I didn't do much.
Oh.
I walked around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All the like the Midwest like corn field
It's
towns.
very flat. You can
Yeah.
grid that thing out.
That's what I'm saying.
There's
It's-
no
it's-
hills to go
no,
around.
It's
Oh,
a
you said
wonderful.
corn.
Yeah, corn. Not no. Porn was yesterday.
I thought I heard something else.
No, porn-
for a second.
Porn was definitely yesterday.
Russ is distracted. He's too busy enlisting in the North Korean army right now.
All that Midwestern porn.
Yeah. I bet you if you go on the porn site, you could probably find some Midwestern corn.
There was. I'm actually really happy about this. I
Gonna
went
slide
to
right in here.
when we went to New York. I have a buddy that lives over there, and he like literally like he was like, I know you're here. We gonna meet up or what? And I was like, yeah, let's find some time.
Sure.
So we went out to. It was a great day. I'm glad he strong armed us into lunch, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It was the best.
Look on the ones when like you make it happen.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Absolutely great.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like, hey, we were like either pretty good acquaintances or
Yeah.
like light friends.
Yeah.
It's like, I've got friends in Vegas or I've got friends in Florida. It's like there's like friends and then there's like your friends. And it's like,
I only got friends in low places.
Okay.
yeah, but
here's the
there's
question.
a
though.
difference.
Here's a question that I have. Well, we're already way over. Here, how far in advance do you reach out for that? Hey, let's meet up if you're making a trip.
If it's your best friend,
My
day of.
day of best friend. Because
Hey,
that's
dude.
my thing. Is I'm like, usually I'm like, oh crap, I'm good. They live there.
Yeah.
And then I reach out and it's like way too late, and I'm like, oh well, that
Because if
sucks.
it's the best friend, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think with anybody, it's like if they're gonna be in town, you can give me short notice. I'll try to make it work. I usually can.
yeah.
I usually can't. And is that understood by everybody?
I think if the people actually know you,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because when we went to Hawaii, and there's a lot of people I went to school with that live in Hawaii, and like after we got back, it was like, dude, you were in Hawaii and you didn't reach out. I was like, damn,
My bad.
oh, my bad. And I felt bad about
Yeah.
it, but it was like, I don't know, like how deep into the holster do you go?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, you can't reach all the way down in the bag.
Yeah.
And was
like-
it the same island in Hawaii?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And let's
Yeah,
be
then-
honest, it's not a big island.
No.
Or was it the
So-
big island?
Even the big island is not that
It's
big.
not a big island.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's
The only thing it takes you
it
anytime
was
to go-
Oahu, and
yeah.
it was like,
Yeah. Oh, so you are a jerk.
Yeah. See, here's the thing though. If you're on like a vacation like that, you can only like. When I went,
It's like
when Tori and I went for our honeymoon, we didn't know. So I've got two really good friends who live out there. We were out there for like 10 days. We did make sure one day that we met up with both of them.
Yeah, we only had like a car for one day when we were there.
Okay.
And there's a lot of locals who are like, I'm not going to Waikiki. Screw you.
Oh,
No.
totally, yeah.
I'm not going to that.
That's a zoo.
I'm not going down there.
Yeah.
See, he's right there at Hickam Air Force Base.
So
So I could slide in and
Yeah.
it's a lot easier. It's also
It's really hard. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, if you want to come meet me at the beach, come meet me at the beach.
Yeah.
Is that being a jerk?
Yeah.
it is funny that if you're somebody who lives there, you're just like, I don't want to go down to that glorious beach. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna go to the smaller beach.
And there's a lot of them, like if they're college friends, it's like, this is my wife. They're like, how do you guys know each other? Well, we got hammered a lot together.
Yeah. We made a lot of poor life choices together, and we bonded over it.
We just boiled that down to college, and then now it's understood with my wife. It's like, okay, I get it.
Also, I would like to point out I have been vindicated by Rufio on the old Vancouver Ford text line.
Okay.
Saying, yeah, I definitely thought Danny said Midwest porn too.
All right, let's go to the tape.
All right.
Let's get answers. All right, let's get this show on the road. We got a Football Friday. We've got a lot of football to discuss.
We do.
It's a big weekend in college football.
It is.
Big weekend in the NFL.
We had a nice little game last night.
It started with a great game last night that answered a lot of questions on one side and left a lot for the other. Danny Dusty on the Fan.
Come on and hold me, just like you told me.
All of like the Midwest like corn.
Then show me.
That's corn.
This is a Football Friday edition of Danny and Dusty
Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
on 1080 The Fan.
That's corn.
All right, bring that music down. I need to hear this again. Rust?
All
You
of
lie.
like the Midwest like corn. Yeah, corn.
That's corn.
Corn.
That's corn. So what we have
disagree.
learned is that you and Rufio have toilet brains.
Well, I think we
Actually, we
We do that as- we
reestablished.
reestablished.
We reestablished where you really hear a P there.
All of like the Midwest like corn.
yeah.
No,
You can hear the.
no.
I hear a p.
All right.
There's no plosive there.
Okay.
Very highbrow stuff.
Are you guys gonna fight over this?
You said porn.
I feel
No, I
like
said
I'm in
porn a lot
step.
yesterday.
I feel like I'm in Step Brothers, being like, I can help with this whole corn porn situation you got going on here.
To look for porn, Dan.
All right.
Corn porn is definitely not what you want to pop up on your search results.
all right. All right.
I'm just saying, like,
All
if
right.
you died and that came up in your search history, that would lead to a lot of questions.
Didn't realize vegetable porn was a thing.
I
All
mean,
right. Kate, which reminds me, we're Circle of Trust here. Everybody here.
Oh, please come out of this. Please land this plane.
Yeah.
Please land this plane.
Well, I'm just trying to assemble the army of people that will do this for me.
Delete your browsing history.
Anything. Just
Nuke
take
it?
it. Yeah, you could just take it.
You
all.
made Jason Kelsey your phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just take a magnet and wipe it all over that laptop.
Just, yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
we just don't. I mean, there's no need.
Look, it's not doing anyone any good.
Yeah. I mean,
Regardless of like,
actually, save the photos because I don't have any. I don't have any photos that will get me in trouble.
sure, yeah.
But just everything else, just get if I die in your watch.
Yeah, look, man. Here's the thing. The search history. I'm less worried about
I'm
that
fine with
stuff
that.
and more about like the why was he googling that? Like
Yeah, exactly.
Like-
exactly.
like like sitting on the crapper thoughts of like
Yeah.
what wait what is that? And
yeah.
you end up like finding out things you didn't necessarily want the answer to.
Yeah, I think yours are going to be far darker than mine.
Not even darker,
But
but
I
just
think
like
people would look at mine and be like,
Oh, no, darker. Most definitely darker.
that's what he was thinking about? And we can avoid
it's like
it.
no, that's what I thought about in that moment, and I
Yeah.
had nothing else to do, so I hit the Google search.
Yeah. that's right.
Incognito mode.
Well, I mean, it's mostly
They'll
just,
still get you.
I know.
It's mostly, and Sukanik says this all the time, that I can get him fired yesterday if I wanted to.
Oh, those text messages?
Yeah. But it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
And, nobody wants any of their
No.
their
That's what I was saying the other day.
their texts with their good friends released.
Yeah. You
Nobody
kidding me?
wants that.
Like I said, I got buddies who are full board colonels who are going up for their board to be a general. And
yeah,
I'm like,
for national security,
yeah.
Danny wants you to destroy his phone.
I'm like, are you kidding me? I can send one photo and get that guy sent to jail. Are you kidding me?
Good times. Good times.
Come on now.
All right.
Well, there's a segment.
That's Thursday Night Football. It was a great game last night.
Both teams played hard.
Oh boy. Yeah. Last night was a great Thursday Night Football game, and we really
We
should
do
talk
need to
about
get into
this
that, yeah.
because it was a fun game. It was at times good defensive football, and at times it was oh boy.
Mm.
Tale of two halves.
Indeed.
We'll go tale of two halves on that one. And by golly, Jamar Chase is a freak of nature.
Good Lord, if you had him on your fantasy team.
But Lamar Jackson is even more.
Mhm.
We'll get to that after Rust with SportsCenter.
This is a football
I
Friday
promise.
edition of Danny and Dusty.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by PG Long Floor Covering, carpet, hardwood, or laminate flooring cleaning or restoration. Call PG Long, your Northwest flooring experts. PG Long, LLC.com. First on the Fan, unanimous #1 Oregon hosting Maryland tomorrow as they look to stay undefeated on the season. 4 o'clock kick on the Big Ten Network. Our coverage tomorrow begins at 9 a.m. with the Center and the St. Tailgate Show. At noon, it's Ducks Game Day live from outside Autzen Stadium. Then stick around through the game and after network coverage for the Ducks post-game scoreboard show. The Ducks are 24 6-point favorites. Oregon State continuing their quest toward bowl eligibility. They host San Jose State tomorrow. 12:30 kick on the C-Dub. The Beavers are 3-point favorites. In the NFL, Titans coach Brian Callahan says Will Levis set to make his return Sunday against the Rams after missing the last 3 games with a grade 2 AC joint sprain of his right shoulder. Bills coach Sean McDermott has ruled out rookie receiver Keon Coleman Sunday against the Colts due to a wrist injury. Amari Cooper is questionable with a wrist injury of his own. And Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson says likely Trevor Lawrence will miss Sunday's game against the Vikings due to a shoulder injury. Mac Jones would start in his stead. On the hard court, the Trailblazers wrap up their road trip tonight in Minneapolis against the T-Wolves. Matisse Thybulle still out, waiting to make his season debut. 6 o'clock tip on K2 Channel 2.2 and Xfinity Channel 302. The Blazers are 12.5-point dogs. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
It's The Fan on FM. Go to 99.5 FM HD2 and enjoy high def 1080 The Fan.
Auto accident? Worried about your deductible? Don't. Before you file a claim, call Leif's Auto Collision Centers. Leif's unique program can help. Unlike the other body shops, we don't work for insurance companies. We work for you. Remember, you have the right to choose who repairs your vehicle. That's the law. Call me at Leif.
Last night, Thursday night, football came down to the wire as the Baltimore Ravens hold off the Cincinnati Bengals. 35-34, Thursday night football. We can start from the back and work our way to the front. We're going to wipe this game back to front. And let's start with the way that it ended.
It gets messy, doesn't it?
I will applaud Zach Taylor.
Mhm.
You are down a score on the road late in a game against a team that is superior to you, has got an MVP candidate on the other side, and has been putting up points on every single drive to end the game. Sound familiar? Todd Bowles talking to you. Zach Taylor scores and tries to go for 2. I have Zero issue whatsoever with it.
Especially when you consider the Ravens got away with it.
And, well, no, the Ravens had to go for 2 because Justin Tucker
No,
missed. I'm
no,
talking
no.
about the Bengals
No,
at
I'm saying
the end.
the Ravens got away with it on the defensive holding and smacking the hell out of Joe Burrow.
Yeah. I mean,
two-
a missed call.
yeah, two
missed calls.
The hitting Joe Burrow, I'm in the world of like, I don't really like throwing the flag there at the quarterback, but the defensive holding was egregious.
And basically, I don't mind the way the Ravens played it either, because what you're saying is, I dare you to throw this flag in this moment. And they didn't.
Then
They didn't.
how
That's
often
what,
do they?
That's what defenders do.
Yeah.
Late in games, crucial situations, referees do not, as much as they get flack for being the center of attention and dictating outcomes of games,
They want to put their flags away
they
and let them decide.
do not want that at all, unless your name is like Scott Foster in the NBA. Then you always want to be the center of attention. But most of the time, officials in every sport, they do not want to be the reason why a team says we won or lost the game. And was it defensive holding? Yep. Was there forcible contact to the neck or head area of the quarterback? Yes. I did see an official, like one of those referee Twitter accounts, say that because the defender was pulled down, he was pulled down, and when that happened, that's where the contact, that his hand was up and it came down because he was being yanked down to the ground because the offensive lineman was on skates. Seemed to be a common theme throughout the course of the night. Joe Burrow took some hits in that game.
Yeah, he did.
He took some hits.
You have to get, what, 3 sacks? Yeah, 3 sacks.
But but he also got
But he
lit
also
up
got
a few
smacked
times.
around, yeah.
Absolutely.
They registered 13 hits, which means they probably registered like 20.
Yeah. But in that moment for Zach Taylor, I loved what he said after the game, which is, we came to win. We didn't come to tie. We didn't come to leave it up to a coin toss like Baker Mayfield did. We went to win that damn game. And they put him on the table. They said, we will win or lose this game with this 2-point conversion. And they end up losing the football game on it. I have no issues with Zach Taylor and the Bengals going for 2, because if we're going to criticize Todd Bowles for doing the same thing, or for not doing it because he wanted to play for overtime and have more opportunities, I will praise Zach Taylor in a loss for trusting one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL,
Who's on an absolute heater.
who threw for over 400 yards. And I will be okay with Cincinnati going for 2 in that.
And my wide receiver right now is unguardable.
He's always open. He is 7-11, baby. But there are massive questions with the Cincinnati team.
I don't even know where to start, because they're now 4-6, and they've dropped games where you can make the argument of their 6 losses, they should have won 4 of them. Not like, oh, they were there. Like, no, you should have won this game.
They had no business losing to the Patriots the first game of the year, despite the fact they were banged up, injury riddled, all that stuff. New England's just not a good football team. You had a chance against the Kansas City Chiefs. You had a chance against the Washington Commanders. You had a chance against the Ravens the first time. Now you have a chance against the Ravens second time, and you lose.
The only game where they just weren't in the game was the Eagles game.
The gut punch of that is 3 of those games have been at home. Patriots, the first Ravens game, and then the Commanders game.
And
all 3 of them at home.
Yeah.
And now it comes to the point where, I said this yesterday, Cincinnati has beat bad teams on their schedule, with the exception of New England. They've taken care of the bad teams. They still have not beat a good team. And we all know that they are talented enough to win these games, especially when B.J. Hill is in the lineup. B.J. Hill he's a game wrecker in the middle. But in the fact that you look at the drive chart of that game and how the Baltimore Ravens finished that game, touchdown, 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 end of game, kneel it out. Winning,
you couldn't get them off the field once.
There is, in crucial situations, in times where the game is on the line, winning is a learned trait. And they have forgotten how to do that late in games. I mean, and this is with, Hamilton goes out for Baltimore
with the ankle, yep.
And the offense, They finished the game with 2 touchdowns, giving yourselves a chance to win the game. Justin Tucker misses a PAT.
Which ESPN Stats and Info had the number on that. It was like the first time somebody had missed an extra point to tie or take the lead with X amount of time left since like 92.
It's
It
crazy.
was one of those like stats like there's been like 4,000 football games since this has happened. And
Yep.
it's Justin bleeping Tucker who are we watching the goat just crumble before our eyes now? Like is the leg just gone?
Dude, Father Time is undefeated.
Like he went from being that dude. I mean, it's him and Vinatieri probably, right? As far as the big time clutch, consistent, just metronome kickers. And now he's missing. He's no longer automatic from 50 like you expect. He's missing extra points. He missed a chip shot field goal. Was it 2 weeks ago? Where you're like, whoa, what was that, dude? It's
It's uncharacteristic, but
it's coming for him.
it starts to become that characteristic when it happens enough. But you think of it as, all right, the offense is doing their job, but the defense just is getting pummeled over and over again, right? The learned trait of winning, right? And why that is something that a team goes through, and there's that unfettered belief at the end of a game. Kansas City has that in spades, right?
Which is even why Patrick Mahomes is underperforming. They still win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's baked into the DNA now.
Baltimore, they have that right now.
Mhm.
And it's not just confidence in your quarterback. It is when another team gives us an inch, can we break that door open and kick that door down, get in and make it our own? A fumble by the Cincinnati Bengals when they were up 21-7 in the third quarter. They fumbled the ball, and that was all the Baltimore Ravens needed. Offense goes down and scores. The defense goes, all right, we're back in this game. Okay. What do they do on the next drive? Force a punt, right? Offense goes down, touchdown, right? Even when you miss that PAT and it's 21-20, they said, okay, our defense is going to pick up the slack and we are going to continue to be
Just
in this
humming
game.
on offense.
They force Cincinnati goes for it on 4th down. Nope, no dice. Offense gets the ball back. They go down and score. It is an avalanche that happens, and all great teams have that characteristic. They have that trait. Is Cincinnati a team where they're going to figure that out over the course of a season? That is the big question, because this is where we know teams can do the, oh boy, here we go again. And how many times have the Bengals won those games? They won a close-ish game against Cleveland.
Yeah, they just haven't done it at all, I think, this
But
year. And
when it's tight, they've lost.
And if you're Joe Burrow, you've got to be sitting there going, what the hell do I have to do? Because he's been outside of the first, 2.5 weeks when he was still kind of coming back and working his way through the injury recovery stuff. He's been phenomenal. He's had absolutely monster games. And he's doing it without a running back. He's doing it without his other wide receivers. And every time he gets these opportunities, he's going out there and delivering.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still falling short. And you have to go like, bro, what, like genuinely, what else can he do at this point? Like
Nothing. Sometimes there's nothing you can
if you're
do.
a quarterback and you're out there and you're throwing for
Nothing you can do, man.
428, 4 touchdowns, you're not taking 3 sacks on 56 attempts is insane.
59 dropbacks.
Like that's insane. So
It
he's
really
clearly
is.
getting the ball out very quickly.
Yeah. And not taking bad sacks either. He was running for his life. There was one where a Herb Street, and kudos to Kirk Herbstreit, playing hurt. Dog Ben dies.
Oh, God.
His Twitter is so sad right
Oh,
now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a big bummer.
The
Ben
cancer
died.
treatment didn't work, so they
Yeah.
had to put him down.
So playing hurt, but Herb Street had one of those where Burrow is like dancing, breaks like 2 tackles in the pocket, scrambles out and throws the ball, and he overshoots a wide open receiver. And he's like, well, he did the hard part. It's like, yeah, he did. But there is no easy part when you're under that sort of pressure, right? Because I think it was Hamilton had come up and got up in
Put
the
a
way.
hand up, yeah.
And he airmailed his receiver on the outside. It's like, what more does Joe Burrow need to do? Because what he did in that game was more than enough to win. The defense let them down again. And that goes back to Baltimore is good enough to win these games. But their defense is still not good enough to win a Super Bowl right now.
No.
Because the trait that every other team has that they will be facing when it comes to the divisional round of the playoffs, the conference championship game, and a Super Bowl is all of those teams have that intrinsic trait of, nope, we do not let teams back into games. And if we give a team an inch, we'll slam that door shut.
It's the
in
anaconda.
Their face
You're
again.
going to squeeze the air out of them.
That is the Kansas City Chiefs right now, right? That is what we're seeing with Buffalo, though Buffalo has shown those massive warts previously. Can Buffalo finally get over the edge and start slamming the door shut on teams? Because, I mean, we have plenty of a track record to show you. They don't have it in them. They go through a lot of what Cincinnati does, except for they win some of these games in the regular season up 21-7. They don't give the opposition an opportunity to get back in it. Baltimore's defense has some serious question marks on it still.
And it's not getting better.
They are Joe Burrow, he may have not thrown a pick, but that was only because a blade of grass between the corner who just gets burned all the time. He made an incredible play.
Toast.
Yeah, his last name is Toast. He made an incredible play on a ball, and he was kind of falling out of bounds. And his toe, when his left foot came down, his right toe had drug out onto the sideline, and that was in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he made a play there, they are bad in the secondary.
Yeah,
I mean, it is really hard to watch.
And it doesn't make any sense.
It does. I mean, you got a rookie on one side, but since it's Baltimore, we've just come accustomed to plugging Brandon Stevens.
Oh, okay.
Who had the interception. They are really bad in the back end outside of Kyle Hamilton and then Marlon Humphrey, that guy forces that fumble, and that's what gave them life. But he's your nickel corner. On the outside, they got a rookie, and then, as Russ puts it, Toast on the outside. That's why they go and they make the trade for Tre'Davious White, because they're saying, we hope we can get even a little bit of what he
functionality
showed.
out there.
If they don't, they're not winning in the playoffs, and that's unfortunate.
Which is insane when you think about it. Both these teams and both these quarterbacks. I mean, are these the two quarterbacks playing the best in the league right now?
Probably.
And,
I mean, yes. Right now,
individual performances, those are the two best quarterbacks in the league. Now, we're not talking about team performance. We're talking about what they do specifically.
Because when the rubber meets the road, I'm never taking anybody over Patrick Mahomes right now.
But you're talking about who? If you're asking who are the best performing
for
quarterbacks,
60 minutes consistently over the course of game, I would put Lamar, Burrow, Jared Goff. I would absolutely put in that category. Josh Allen.
Josh Allen has that one game where it's like, that little guy over there, don't worry about that little guy.
Yeah.
9 of 27. Other than that, he's been phenomenal.
I'd put him in that. But yeah, these two guys are playing out of their minds.
And both
right
their
now.
teams.
All those guys are in the AFC, by the way.
Yeah. The interesting thing is,
except for Goff,
you could make if one little thing goes right for the Bengals in 4 games, and one little thing goes wrong for the Ravens in 4 games, you could spin this on its head, and they could have the inverse records very, very, very easily.
Lamar Jackson is proving something that nobody likes to do, though. We'll get to that next. Danny Dusty on the Fan.
The definitive podcast for
is clear.
Lamar Jackson is doing something that collectively we do not give guys credit for. He has taken almost all of his flaws and turned them on their head. And you look at last night, he went 25-33, 290 yards, 4 tutties, no interceptions. We knew he could run the ball, 7 carries for 33 yards, but his fourth quarter was beautiful. It was perfect almost. In the fourth quarter, he went 11 of 13, 197 yards and 3 touchdowns. In the fourth quarter. Think about that stat line, right?
That seems decent.
They are losing at one point in that game 21-7 in the third.
And it definitely felt like, at least I was watching it, that the Bengals were going to run away with that game.
He threw for 197 of his 290 yards in that fourth quarter. This guy is doing, we don't like to give guys credit of, players can change, players can grow. And a lot of it is tied to your coordinator, the system you're playing in, and the guys that are around you.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, well, Lamar Jackson, at the beginning of his career, he can't push the ball downfield. His own coach said he can't push the ball downfield. Well, he didn't have a vertical target to stretch the field to effectively push the ball down the field. They go and they correct that. They get rid of Greg Roman, and they bring in Todd Monken, who is schematically wise, fits Lamar Jackson far better than what Greg Roman did. We're seeing it in LA with the Chargers. Greg Roman is really good at running the football, commanding the clock, keeping everything in front of you in short, and having a good passing game on the intermediate and short. Where are the explosives, though, right? In that, if it's not out of play action, it's not existing, right? Herbert fits Greg Roman more than Lamar Jackson did, because Lamar, at the beginning of his career, too, was not a guy who really was comfortable in the pocket. He looks more comfortable now. He is an elite quarterback by any measure, every measure. And although he won the MVP last year, this year, he is playing better than he did last year.
Yeah, this is the best version we've seen of him. And the criticism I always had of him was the inability to push the ball down the field, the accuracy, the consistency of the accuracy, and then year after year he's gotten better. And that's the thing, is like it's interesting because we talk about that, players are allowed to improve and you can change your own narratives. The thing is, so many don't. And him and Josh Allen are kind of the exceptions of like the things they had pushed up against them, that not only did they improve, they conquered their demons. And I think that's the thing that separates those two quarterbacks specifically.
And as good as he was in the fourth quarter last night, also just even on third down last night, 10 of 11, 162 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a perfect 158.3 passer rating.
That is a very good quarterback. That is an elite quarterback. And we've seen that growth in front of our eyes with Lamar. He is getting more and more of that recognition, but I think it still needs to be highlighted more. One guy who doesn't, we need to talk about, because I think we're not talking nearly enough about a quarterback who is in command of an elite offense right now, and nobody seems to want to put him in that conversation. We'll start out number 2 with that. Danny Dusty on the Fan.
Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on this update brought to you by Laurelhurst Market Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. Grab your meat for grilling season and save 10% on your Butcher Shop order when you dine in. Menus at laurelhurstmarket.com. First on The Fan, unanimous number one, Oregon hosting Maryland tomorrow as they look to stay undefeated on the season. 4 o'clock kick on the Big Ten Network. The Ducks are 24-point favorites. Our coverage here on The Fan begins tomorrow at 9 a.m. with the Sinner in the Saint tailgate show at noon. It's Ducks Game Day live from outside Autzen Stadium, and then stick around through the game and after network coverage for the Ducks post-game scoreboard show. Oregon State continuing their quest toward bowl eligibility, hosting San Jose State tomorrow, 12:30 kick on the CW. The Beavers are 3-point favorites. In the NFL, Bills coach Sean McDermott ruling out rookie receiver Keon Coleman Sunday against the Colts due to a wrist injury. Amari Cooper is questionable with a wrist injury of his own. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson says it's likely Trevor Lawrence will miss Sunday's game against the Vikings due to a shoulder injury. Mac Jones would start in his place, and Titans coach Brian Callahan says that Will Levis set to make his return Sunday against the Rams after missing the last 3 games with a grade 2 AC joint sprain of his right shoulder. In the association, the Trailblazers wrapping up their road trip tonight in Minneapolis against the Timberwolves. Matisse Thybulle still out. He is still waiting to make his season debut. 6 o'clock tip on K2 Channel 2.2 and Xfinity Channel 302. The Blazers are 12.5-point dogs. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Got a smart speaker? It's The Fan in your office and every room of your home. Tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan. It's Football Friday on The Fan.
It's a man's game now.
This is a Football Friday edition of Danny and Dusty.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app, follow 1080 The Fan, and enable push notifications to get the latest on the Ducks, Beavers, Blazers, and more.
Football Friday with Danny and Dusty on 1080.
We have great expectations.
The Fan.
Hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Football Friday. Thank you for being part of our day, letting us be a part of yours, wherever you may be listening. We're talking about the growth of Lamar Jackson and the incredible level that he's playing at right now. 24 touchdown passes, only 2 interceptions on the year. He's got a quarterback rating of 123. He's pushing the ball down the field. He's playing well in the pocket. His legs are still as dangerous as ever. And he's getting his flowers because of it. The guy that I just can't believe, we brought him up a few times this week, including earlier in the show, that for whatever reason, he just never gets brought up in those conversations about being one of the best quarterbacks in the league, is Jared Goff.
Yes.
What more does Jared Goff need to do?
He needs to do another reality series where he gets to redeem his character arc.
Of just not knowing where the sun rises and sets.
Yes.
Yeah, that might be it. But think about where Jared Goff is right now. And he has got, I love the criticism of Jared Goff is like, well, anybody could perform well in that offense. Could they?
No.
Could everybody complete 75% of their passes in the National Football League? I mean, and you tell me, Brock Purdy is the darling of the NFL. Nobody has better weapons than he has.
No.
Nobody has a better left tackle than him.
And every time one of those weapons disappears, Brock Purdy falls down that ladder a little bit. I think we've seen that now. Like, people wanted to say, oh, you just don't believe. And it's like, well, he's good.
I love Brock Purdy.
Look, I'm not saying he's cheeks.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that when he doesn't have his full complement of multiple, like, first ballot Hall of Fame type caliber players all available at the same time, he looks average.
Yes.
Jared Goff has looked good regardless of situation.
Yeah. And
hell, even with the Rams.
He went to a Super Bowl. Now, they lost that Super Bowl, was it 13-7?
Yes. Because he wasn't as prolific, and I think a big part of that was, again, talking about growth.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jared Goff, all 3 players had, like, not red flags, orange flags.
Yeah, and look,
orange flags,
Goff
and figured it out.
Goff was 1-1, right? He came out with the number 1 pick overall in his draft. And their team wasn't good. Their coaching was not anywhere near where it should be.
That is 7 and 9 bull.
Came from the same season that Jared Goff didn't know where the sun rose and set, even living in California his entire life. Seems like that's when you should know. When you live next to an ocean your whole life. I mean, I would actually
You
be
should know
okay
which
if, like,
direction it is.
if somebody in Nebraska was like, I don't know, I'd be like, all right, yeah, I get it a little bit.
Yeah.
But when you live on a coast, it's like, yeah, that's west. I know. Ocean there, sun down on it.
Yeah.
Right?
Easy enough.
You
Feels
would
like
think
we
when you
should have
have
known that.
the biggest ocean in the world
Mm-hmm.
miles away,
Yeah. You'd know that.
right?
And you lived there your entire life.
Look, I get it if you live in like the middle of Calgary.
Yeah.
I
right.
get it if you live in Calgary.
Sure.
You're completely landlocked. You're up north. Days are weird.
Yeah. Goff, no. It's weird. But he went through L.A. They bring in Sean McVay, and McVay got all of the credit for that. And McVay deserved a ton of credit for that because the play calling, the scheming guys open, and making it easier for Jared Goff allowed them to succeed. I think the worst thing that happened for Jared Goff and his reputation not being able to rebound is the fact that after that Super Bowl, the Rams said, we need to upgrade the quarterback position, and they went and they got Matthew Stafford from Detroit, who everybody said throughout the entirety of his career is a really good quarterback that is just in a crappy franchise and on a crappy team, right? And Stafford comes out to L.A., they win a Super Bowl. They beat the Bengals in a Super Bowl. And all of a sudden it's like, see, it was Jared Goff. He was the problem. But what everybody has ignored from that point is the growth that we've seen in Jared Goff as a quarterback. He's not a guy that's going to keep you honest with his legs.
Mm-mm.
He is.
In fact, he's not going to move in there at all.
No. But he got good coaching.
Mm-hmm.
He has a very bright offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson. He's got weapons galore now. The franchise invested the right way with having Taylor Decker, Frank Ragnow, Penei Sewell. In the draft, they've built it up with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams when he's not suspended or injured. They go out and they get Jahmyr Gibbs through the draft, David Montgomery in free agency. Like, they have built an offense around Jared Goff that accentuates his strengths. If your quarterback is not explosive, you sure as hell better get some guys around him that are, because the defense has got to be kept honest. And with guys like Gibbs, with the way they use Amon-Ra St. Brown, with the speed and verticality of Jamison Williams and how he can stretch a defense, you have accentuated the strengths of Jared Goff. And now he is thriving, and everybody's just like, well, it's still Jared Goff. He's really damn good.
It's that first impression.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And I think you could say the same is true for Jameis Winston in the sense of, I think a lot of people still think of Jameis as Captain Crab Legs, the interception machine.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still Jameis, and he's still goofy, and he's still weird, and all those kind of things. But he has turned himself into a functional quarterback who doesn't turn the ball over like his life depends on it. But when you make a lasting impression, good, bad, or otherwise, even in Jared Goff's case, where I think the impression he made wasn't good or bad, but that it wasn't good or bad. And a big part of that has to do with what pick was he?
Number one
And
overall.
when you don't live up to that billing, I think that's the more detrimental thing.
Yeah. And it's really weird to see because
It's very dumb, but
statistically, his games look a lot like some of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. Literally. Like, if he has a game like he had their last game against Green Bay, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he was 18 for 22 for 145 yards.
Because he didn't have to do anything because Green Bay was neutered to death.
But what did he do with his attempts? He went 18 of 22, and they won by 2 scores. Like, that is what guys like Tom Brady, Joe Montana Hell, Patrick Mahomes will do. If he's not going to throw for 3 bills, he's going to be wildly efficient. And when he throws the ball, he's getting the ball in the right spot. And it's crazy to see that. And I'm not saying that Jared Goff is Tom Brady or Joe Montana by any means, but you look at it and you go, people just think like he's still some sort of bum. And he's like a first round a number 1 overall pick that isn't going to work out. I think over the last 8 years, his career has done nothing but progress and go uphill. Mm-hmm. I mean, where has the downturn happened after they fired Jeff Fisher?
Yeah, no, I don't think there really has been one. And if you look at just kind of like year after year through it, you go, why isn't he getting that attention? Because it's not that he's just been successful. He's been successful with the worst franchise in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Like this should be, I think, a broader, deeper redemption story.
Yeah.
Because of what it is.
You know what organization needs to look into that? The Chicago Bears.
Ooh.
Because Detroit could never find a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They found a quarterback, still couldn't find a way. They had the best 1-2 combo quarterback receiver in the National Football League.
Can I introduce you to Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson?
That's pretty
luck.
good, but they couldn't figure it out and they couldn't get out of their own way. Well, Brad Holmes is in at GM, Dan Campbell in at head coach, and everybody laughed at that. Nobody wanted that Detroit job. He goes out and hires Ben Johnson, and they stick to their process, and they go and they turn themselves into this dominant force. Right now, Chicago is doing the same stuff they've always done. It's literally the same stuff they did with Mitch Trubisky. It's the same stuff they did with Justin Fields, and they're doing it to Caleb Williams right now. And we thought, hey, maybe this is different because they actually went out, got weapons, and surrounded the rookie quarterback with guys that seemed functional. No, what you did wrong is that you still kept the same regime in charge, and nobody wants to coach with a dead man walking, and Matt Eberflus is a dead man walking.
I still think, to me, one of the most, I won't call it impressive, amazing stats in sports that I've ever heard. The Chicago Bears have never had a 30 touchdown passer in a season,
or a 5,000 or 4,000
or 4,000 yard passer.
No,
like you feel like at least once you kind of stumble ass backwards into that. Even
the Raiders are the second worst quarterback franchise in the history of the NFL, but the Bears are number 1 by leaps and bounds. It doesn't make any sense why they have been so bad for so long.
Well, I will. The Browns too. Browns still need to be in that because
but they've had a couple that were.
Come on, Bernie Kosar would like a word.
Look, I was just say Bernie Kosar is better than any
then I
quarterback.
Can say Rich Gannon, MVP.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
MVP Rich
Super Bowl. The Raiders are right there. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But again, for 2 years, 3. But
Brian Sipe.
It's like those guys are both so much better than any quarterback the Bears have ever had. It's insane.
Yeah.
And you're just like, how is that possible?
Well, Jim McMahon did help them win a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say he won them a Super Bowl.
So did Trent Dilfer with the Ravens. But it's like, you were there.
Damn, that would hurt.
He's not wrong, though.
He's not wrong.
I mean,
he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
If there's ever been a participation
style.
trophy, look, I'm just saying, if there's ever been a participation trophy in the NFL, that was it.
Yeah. This texter on the Vancouver Forward text line, Cardinals are worse at quarterback. Well, Neil Lomax set records. Then they had Kurt Warner.
Yeah, and Kyler's better than any quarterback.
Kurt Warner, who also took them to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray's still pretty good, too.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut. He's a good athlete. I don't know that he's a good quarterback.
Oh, I think he's a good quarterback, too.
Hell, Palmer.
Carson
Palmer was better for them than probably any Bears quarterback.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. It's not great in Arizona, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not great. Boy. If you look at excluding the Matt Ryan era, go take a look at the Atlanta Falcons, too.
Mike Vick had a decent time there.
Yeah. Mike Vick
he was pretty good.
Mike Vick couldn't throw, though.
True.
Because he never watched film.
Yeah, well, he ran the S out of it.
He was so fun.
He ran the S out of it, and he'd throw it a country mile over the mountains over there.
Carson Palmer
Just didn't know if
finished
I'd get to a
second
receiver.
as the MVP in 2015, leading the
Bartkowski.
13-3 Cardinals.
Yeah.
He threw for 4,700 yards, 35 touchdowns,
all right.
and 11 interceptions.
Yeah, see, that's better than anything that.
He literally broke 2 records a Bears quarterback has never done in the same season.
Yeah, there you go. And he's number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good. That's pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Hey, let's get to the Blazers played last night.
They did.
It was exactly what we want to see. I think all Blazer fans can
Another
be
L?
happy with that one. Yeah. But
competing,
playing hard, playing like they were motivated,
seeing some growth,
a lot of growth, and we saw Shaden Sharp next on the Fan. Portland Trailblazers went down to San Antonio and found themselves 3-6. A 118-105 loss to the San Antonio Spurs that it didn't leave me feeling down on the game at all.
No, I mean, the big part of that is
perimeter shooting did, but other than that, it was
the return of Shaedon Sharpe made this like fun and interesting and viable. And he gets out on the court, and then his first shot is a pull-up mid-range shot, which is kind of like the star shot, and it looks clean, soft, gentle, beautiful. And I say all that like kind of tongue-in-cheek, but also dead serious. Of like he has the markers of a guy who scores in the region that stars score in the area that you have to score in when they're running you off the three-point line and they're packing the paint. Can you take and make this shot? And that was his first shot of the season. It was his first shot in almost a year. Like, think about that for a second. Shaedon Sharpe has not played basketball since January 10th.
Yeah.
10
months.
It's been a long time since he's been on the basketball court, okay? And he went out there, plays 20 minutes, and you saw things that I don't think you could have been happier about. I think it was maybe the best possible outcome. Zero hesitancy. Challenges Wemby on a drive and finishes it off the very top of the glass after putting his shoulder into him and just incredible contortionist body control, soft touch finish. He hits the back cut for the dunk. He moves without the ball. He hits the catch and shoot three. He has oh my God, like the game was over at that point in time, but did you see the block he had?
No.
He just comes out of nowhere and reaches it after it's left the Spurs player's hand. And he just no, not today. And it was like one of those outlier, oh my God, athleticism moments.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had the play of the night for me. It was his best pass of his career.
The difficulty on that pass was 10 out of 10.
He put it in a window. It was, to go football analogy, he did what Dylan Gabriel did against Michigan and put it under a guy's arm.
And he threw it across the lane that was congested.
Through two guys.
Kicked out to a very tough spot on the floor because it wasn't in the corner. It wasn't
smack in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, it's a tough pass to make.
Yeah.
That was a really good one. That was a great pass by Shaedon.
One-handed live dribble, look away, rip through the middle. I'm in my office at K2, and I literally jumped out of my chair and screamed a lot of things that I can't say on the radio.
You have an office at K2?
I do.
Your own office?
We share it.
Oh, so it's just a room that you guys watch a game in?
Well, no, it's actually weirdly enough, I'm actually an employee.
Oh, look at that.
I'm a producer and talent there.
Wow, look at that.
I know, right?
Big time.
I know. But yeah, I'm actually technically a K2 employee.
All right.
But yeah,
They're going to regret giving you an office.
No, they're not. Because having me in an office is a better thing. Because the office is right there next to the bullpen.
Yeah, probably better than just having him out running around loose.
Yeah. No, they can close the door on me.
You're like Omar Bradley, the Tiger that LSU's bringing in.
100%. You don't want me just lurking the premises.
You don't want him out.
It's a big place too.
Okay.
It's crazy. But you got everything I think you wanted to see out of Shaedon Sharpe. Don't know if he's going to go tonight. I think he is.
They're in Minnesota.
They're in Minnesota. Yeah, they turned and burned. They got out of San Antonio.
That is a brutal back-to-back location too. San Antonio to Minnesota. Usually it's like Houston or Dallas
Oklahoma City
or OKC,
New Orleans.
Well, we're same time zone at least, right? Like, is it terribly different than Portland to LA or LA to Portland on a back-to-back?
It's more about dealing with those two airports, even when you're flying chartered. It's just a pain.
Yeah, I think that is further. Minneapolis to San Antonio.
Yeah, a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you still stay at the same time zone.
Yeah.
Which is weird because the game last night was on 5
flight,
local. It's going to be on 6 local tonight, even though they're in the same time zone because they're playing on Friday. But yeah, I think you saw last night what you're going to see basically night in, night out for the Portland Trailblazers. And
I like
Dusty,
DeAndre Ayton offensively too.
It's really nice when Anthony Simons throws him lobs too.
Yeah,
It's just hungry hippo, throw it up at the rim.
It's really hard to guard Victor Wembanyama. I think we learned that all year last year, and then again last night. But I thought Ayton did a good job offensively picking and choosing his spots because at 7'6", what is Wemby's? What is his wingspan?
His wingspan is 8 feet.
Yeah. Even if you are 7'1", it is hard to get a shot over him.
Yeah.
It's actually might be harder if you're that big because you're not used to having to float shots over a guy like
Have
that.
any kind of touch like that.
So like Ayton, it looked like he was finding soft spots and getting the ball out quick and trying to get anything that he could up. And I thought he was really effective in that.
I mean,
last
he was effective. He was great on the glass. I thought Da had a really nice night, and he wasn't really part of the problem at all as far as Portland's offense. It was, and again, stop me if you've heard this before. It's a math problem.
Mm-hmm.
The Spurs get up 39 threes. The Blazers get up 32.
Yeah, we knew the Blazers can't shoot. They still can't.
It's not that they can't.
And that's going to lose them games like this, which I'm totally okay with.
And this is what I've been saying all along. As feisty as they are defensively and aggressive as they are, what they didn't do last night, 7 steals, 3 blocks.
Hey, in full transparency, I said this yesterday. It was going to be my second screen game. I wasn't paying like close to attention possession by possession, but there were a heck of a lot of times where I kept looking over and it seemed like there was like a backdoor cut or they were finding cutters and the defense was just like ball watching.
The Spurs they're in a really good spot kind of going forward, obviously with Wemby, but it's not that they have a bunch of, they aren't the Celtics of like they've got 5 guys that can all dribble pass, shoot, and like take advantage of mismatches. They have a bunch of secondary creators, and they were doing this last night without Jeremy Sohan or Devin Vassell.
I was going to say, do they have a real point guard yet?
I mean, they have Chris Paul, and then Steph.
Oh, I forgot about Chris Paul.
But they also
have,
have,
all right.
But they also have Steph Castle, and
Yeah.
that's the thing
Castle.
is, and you had last night Blake Wesley with 8 assists. Like, look, they had 35 assists last night, and if you go down the list, 8 for Wesley, 6 for Castle, 6 for Paul, 3 for Branham, Zach Collins, and Keldon Johnson. Like, they don't have a ton of like natural creators outside of Chris Paul.
Yeah.
But they've got a metric crap ton of secondary creators, guys that keep the ball moving, the ball pops around. And now a big part of that is assists are not always an indication of good offense as much as it is an indication of good shooting. Like last night, Zach Collins, the Blazers said, "We dare you to hit shots." And you know what Zach Collins did? He hit shots. He had 14 points in 15 minutes. That's the difference in this game. That's quite literally the difference in this game. And you look at,
see him do that kind of thing in Portland.
I know I had a couple people send me some text along that last line. I'm like, yeah, the Blazers are daring Zach Collins to hit shots. The problem is Zach Collins is hitting shots. The other thing was the Blazers uncharacteristically missed quite a bit of free throws. But you take a look at it, Portland shot 48% from the field and lost.
Yep, I'm okay with that.
But this is kind of what you,
because they allowed 54% shooting from the opponent.
And I don't think it was necessarily Portland playing poorly defensively as much as San Antonio executed honestly like a Spurs team.
Yeah.
They looked, and again, this isn't the 2014 Spurs, but a lot of the same principles. And I think what Chris Paul does is get them a level of competency of getting into and executing that is in the same way Denny Avdia is kind of responsible, I think, for the Blazers pushing the pace and being more physical and more aggressive. He's their bell cow in that vein. Chris Paul is that as far as reinforcing the positive playmaking stuff.
2 final notes that I have. Are we going to see less of Scoot Henderson?
He had an okay game last night. Played 20 minutes, 11 points, 3 assists, cleaner floor game, only 2 turnovers. But
I don't think the stat line really, the picture that you're getting, he's looking less comfortable almost.
I thought last night his energy was better than the last couple of games. The last couple of games he's pretty listless.
Maybe sick or something.
And that's the thing is that, you always kind of throw that out there, and you can't really go game to game. You have to kind of take a step back and look at like 5 and 10 game chunks to kind of see. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was frustrated right now because he probably wants more minutes. He wants more opportunity. But the problem is, and this for everybody who's screaming, Scoot and Shaden and Klingon need to start, one guy on that list is both capable of starting and being productive in that starting spot, and that's Shaden Sharp. Donovan Klingon is not there yet. You saw him last night. Oh boy, just running up and down. And you could see him. He was huffing and puffing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's going to hit that 30-game wall right on schedule for that rookie wall.
Also, Time Lord.
I think he's going to go tonight.
Dead or alive?
I think he's going to go tonight.
Alive.
I think that's the plan.
Okay.
So Minnesota's got a few more bigs. Like more traditional in Gobert and Naz Reid and Julius Randle, which I think makes things a little bit easier to deal with. But also Chauncey's dealing with having too many guys who genuinely need to play.
Yeah.
Ryan Rupert got the Noah Vonleh kind of treatment, played the 7-minute stint in the first half, and that was it.
Yeah.
And so, but holistically, if you take a step back and you're looking at everything the Blazers are, this is kind of what you want to see. You see development, you see growth, you see Shaedon Sharpe go out there, you see him look productive, you see Klingon get some run against Wemby, you see Toumani Camara, you see Denny Avdia.
Denny Avdia looked okay.
I thought, again, it was his best game so far as a Blazer, and not necessarily just the production, but like the feel.
Yeah.
He looked like he was significantly more in the flow of the game. But
Did he hit a shot?
he did.
He did.
He did.
He did.
A
3.
I heard that's big in basketball.
It's super useful. But
Okay, go ahead.
I was saying they lost the game, so now they're
They did.
now they're 3-6, and they're probably going to lose tonight, and they're going to end this stretch where everybody's like, oh my God, they're winning too much, and they're going to be 3-7. 3-7.
Yeah.
Their first 10 games.
Last note on that game, Julian Champagnie is a fun name to say.
I mean, if you want to talk about fun names to say on that team, Wembanyama,
yeah.
Julian Champagnie, Sandro Mamukashvili.
Yeah, I don't want to try to say that one.
Right? That's why they call him Mamu.
But anytime I heard Champagnie, I was like, isn't that's a great name, you know? Because you're just anticipating champagne, and they're like, nope, Champagnie.
We're going to add a little to the end of it.
Yeah, great name.
Apropos of nothing, if we're just talking about fun names to say.
Yep.
Apparently, I don't know if this is on Basketball Reference or what, but somebody has put up a nickname for Nikola Vucevic.
Okay.
Vucci Main.
Oh, yeah.
I did not know that.
I think that's actually an ESPN one.
Is it?
I think that might be an SVP special.
I had never seen the Vucci Main.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Vucci Main.
Yeah, I think that's one of the ESPN guys that came up with that one back when they were allowed to have nicknames still.
Or I was going to say when they were allowed to have
personality.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, those.
Yeah. I think we need Julian Champagnie needs a nickname. I mean, you could call him Bubbly.
I was going to say Bubbly. Yeah. Prosecco.
You're going full Cedric the Entertainer there and going, I am not calling a grown man Bubbly.
Yeah, nope, I will. But Champagnie's just too fun to say.
It is.
I think you're a no nickname guy at that point. Champagnie.
Do you go by Jules?
Jules Champagnie.
Just call him Brute.
Yep.
There you go. That works.
Yep. I mean, Pop, a wine guy, do you think he's like looking down at the draft board and being like, yeah, that's our guy?
Yeah.
He's going on the list trying to find a guy named Vino.
Yeah, he's looking for
like, are you actually from France or are you just a sparkling wine?
Yeah. Nope, Staten Island. Okay. Little bit of a difference.
Yeah, definitely not growing off the vine there. All right, coming up next on our Worst Day on the Web, what the hell is going on in Florida? I mean, that doesn't really narrow it down. That's kind of half the fun. But first, it's Big Kahuna Sports Center Update.
That's that Hawaiian burger joint.
This is a Football Friday edition of Danny and Dusty.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, unanimous #1 Oregon hosting Maryland tomorrow as they look to stay undefeated on the season. 4 o'clock kick on the Big Ten Network. The Ducks are 24-point favorites. Our coverage tomorrow begins at 9 a.m. with the Center and the St. Tailgate Show. And then at noon, Ducks Game Day live from outside Autzen Stadium. Stick around throughout the game and after network coverage for our Ducks post-game scoreboard show. Oregon State continuing their journey toward bowl eligibility. They host San Jose State tomorrow afternoon. That's a 12:30 kick on the C-Dub. The Beavers are 3-point favorites. In the NFL, Titans coach Brian Callahan says quarterback Will Levis set to make his return Sunday against the Rams after missing the last 3 games with a grade 2 AC joint sprain of his right shoulder. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson says it's likely Trevor Lawrence will miss Sunday's game against the Vikings due to a shoulder injury. Mac Jones would start in his place, and Bills coach Sean McDermott has ruled out rookie receiver Keon Coleman Sunday against the Colts due to a wrist injury. Receiver Mari Cooper is questionable with a wrist injury of his own. And on the hard court, Trailblazers wrapping up the road trip tonight in Minneapolis against the Timberwolves. Matisse Thybulle still out, waiting to make his season debut. 6 o'clock tip on K2 Channel 2.2 and Xfinity Channel 302. The Blazers are 12.5-point dogs. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
One number does it all for contests and texting your favorite fan shows. The Vancouver Ford text line is 503-864-6FAN. It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
That sucks.
Billy Napier, not the biggest problem at the University of Florida right now. After getting the dreaded vote of confidence just yesterday, which we didn't get to, he is now getting swept under the rug because Florida's basketball program is being hit with some wild allegations. The reporting being done by the Alligator, the Florida University of Florida student paper.
Yeah. Well, probably because nobody else would pick it up.
There's been a couple of these that have popped up over the last couple of years where student papers have really broken things open.
Yeah, this is actually kind of how it used to be, in that student newspapers used to be the ones that would get more of the salacious stories because people start talking, people start peeking around, looking around, and journalism professors, they don't care. They want you to get real life experience. And sometimes the real life experience is alienating a business or an entity that you have developed relationships with when you are a journalist, right?
Or that may have some sort of power.
Part of journalism is building relationships with the understanding that, hey, I'm going to be fair, neutral, and I'm going to report the news. And so, like, this kind of actually gives me hope that we are going down the road of getting back to a more traditional journalistic realm, in that, like, the reporters that are actual journalists and not just, I think we think of television and radio people as journalists. They're not.
No.
We know journalists.
You're telling I'm not a journalist?
You are not a journalist.
I am,
man.
I am, and
No.
I've had this discussion. Does anybody, do I think I'm a journalist? I go, no, I am media.
You can write, but you are not a journalist. And this is a student newspaper that, boy, there's going to be some pissed off people at the University of Florida about this, but that's part of the gig. That's part of what you sign up for if you're going to try to make this your career. And it oftentimes it launches these student reporters into careers, because major outlets look at it and say, you're not going to be afraid to report the story that's going to be a hard one to report, because going to your college, you went there for a reason. You like the University of Florida. You went there because of what it offered you and the attraction to it. And this reporter is, in all likelihood, going to get the basketball coach fired, the athletic director fired. A lot of Board of Regents are going to be upset that this is being reported on, because this is a concerted effort at this point not to talk about it.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you don't know, Todd Golden, the basketball coach, has been accused of stalking and sexual harassment of University of Florida female students.
And it's so much worse than it sounds.
It is. And this goes back to a Title IX complaint filed against Golden on September 27th. So we've gone over a month now and haven't heard boo out of it.
And the student paper is the one that breaks it.
The student paper is the one to break it.
And what it outlined was that basically Golden is a predator.
Yeah, and apparently some people from his staff as well.
No, but it said one woman told the paper he stalked her more than 10 times, and he messaged her on Instagram saying he was waiting for her after she publicly posted her location. As bad as that sounds, it starts with the process would begin on IG and eventually escalated to where Golden would allegedly send unwanted photos of his genitals.
While on road trips with the team. They talked to two students that went on the record for this anonymously. And they said that they're the ones that are filing the Title IX lawsuit. And there are more. And that it isn't just Todd Golden, but apparently there's other members of the staff. One of the women said, I think it's just a sick effing joke they're all doing within that organization. All the coaches, they probably get off by showing each other the pictures. There's something effing sick going on there. Uh-oh.
That's not good. And when are we gonna? When you would think by now, we as a society would have learned the unsolicited D-pics. Not good, Bob.
Nah, I think most people in the sports world should have picked up on that over a decade ago when Brett Favre
right?
was sending little Brett pics on like the first iteration of camera phones, which could not have been flattering. But apparently Golden is sending these pictures over Instagram, and they're saying that he uses his power and his leverage at the university to manipulate these young women into thinking that they can't do anything about it. Well, they said, the hell with that.
Well,
We're going to do something about it.
Yeah. It's not like he has a certain more amount of power, I guess, over his players. But yeah, random co-eds, no, they don't answer to him in any regard.
No.
Again, why is a coach sending any? Why are you
one married with 2 kids?
Yeah, to college co-eds.
Yes.
That's not good.
What the hell are you doing, dude? What are you doing? Like, look, this is again, this is not excusing it. Do not take that for this. But this is the seedy underbelly of the quasi-professional realm, and it gets even worse in the professional realm of how a lot of these relationships, particularly people in power, and there are, people are going to take this the wrong way. There are women that not only allow it, they seek it out.
Yeah.
And it does not make it okay what he's doing.
No, because this is apparently
unwanted
into a lot of young women around the University of Florida.
But my point being, like, this disgustingly happens, and it's shouldn't, and it needs to stop. And
it's not just in sports; it's in lots of
that's what I'm saying. It's the thing,
entertainment.
You get in as I'm saying, where you
Louis
have
C.K. anyone?
Yeah, these power structures that exist, and it's just like, guys, it's not that hard. It don't send D-pics unless somebody asks you for them. Look, we don't kink shame on this show, but like,
I never have understood the sending the D-pics though.
Well, I mean,
you don't want to see that
unless you're Jason Segel. Did you ever heard that story?
No.
This is going to be a total deviation. He got Harrison Ford. He had never met Harrison Ford. He's doing that new show with him.
Yeah, Shrink.
And he had never met him, but they wanted to get him for the show. And like one of the producers said, "Hey, we'd love to get you for this." And Harrison Ford had no idea who Jason Segel was, but obviously in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, he does the full frontal nudity. And after watching the movie, Harrison Ford replied to the producer and said, "I love him. I'm in. Also tell him he's got a great D." And Jason Segel has the text printed out and framed in his house.
I would too.
If Harrison Ford told me I've got a great D,
Indiana Jones, Han Solo,
right?
Compliments my hog,
and Jack Ryan,
right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I
Look,
am.
In that case, then maybe.
Yeah.
Then maybe. You perhaps send an unsolicited D-pic, but even then, you don't do it.
No, I don't think you do it in that. He's already seen it,
but
he's already impressed by it.
But like, even
but
the
what
guy
you do
who's
is you send it with the message that says, "Hey, Harrison Ford is very impressed by my junk."
No, Harrison Ford's stamp of approval.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Like, again, I'm not trying to make light of this because it's so stupid because that we have to even have this conversation. You're a college basketball coach. Why are you sending D-pics to college students?
Well, because you went back to it though. You touched on this earlier. It is the fact that they have been allowed that power, and they are power hungry, and oftentimes a lot of people seek it out from them. And in those situations, they often rebuff it because they think they're going to get caught. But then it gets to them to a point where they start doing this all the time. It's creepy. It's predatory.
Yes.
And what is going to be the fallout of this? Dude, all heads are going to be rolling.
I mean, if the students have the pictures and the text message, he's fried.
He's doing it on Instagram, so it's on there. It's on there.
It reminds me of the old Seinfeld episode where Jerry had the girlfriend that liked to be naked all the time. And for some reason, it would kind of bugged him because there was good naked and bad naked. And then he started doing the naked thing. And Elaine basically said, "No, the male body, it's like a Jeep. It's utilitarian. It's for getting around." Nobody wants to see that.
Nobody wants to see that, no. This is serious, though. And Todd Golden is still coaching and has been coaching
Why he's
despite
not,
the fact that this was filed on September 27th.
why he's not away on leave is
I was gonna say why, or at least not fired yet,
Well-
is because they're covering their asses.
well, yeah.
So,
the
well,
legal part of
right.
this is he should be away on leave.
Pending investigation.
Yeah.
And Scott Strickland is the athletic director. He's the one that hired him. He's already fired his women's basketball coach after, I think it was abusive behavior and bullying in the women's basketball program. You have the Billy Napier show that's going on the football field, and now they're going, yeah, we're going to keep him. Well, it's probably because he's the guy that you can't fire right now. And by some accounts, one of the reasons Billy Napier is coming back is because of the NIL deals that are tied to the young players on the team, and Billy Napier is a big part of that, and they'll have to pay out if he leaves. And the
Oops.
players leave. So it's an S show at Florida.
Sounds like Florida has a larger problem than just Golden, and it's probably the AD.
I would say so. Well, their university president has stepped down. They've got an interim president who's the former. And look, let's not make any mistake about this, that the University of Florida Athletic Department has been able to run roughshod and without consequence for decades now. I mean, did anybody watch the Netflix doc on Florida, where even when they were trying to whitewash it and make it rosy,
it was still bad?
Yes. Like Aaron Hernandez and the Pouncey brothers.
How many coats of paint can we possibly put on this?
Not enough.
Not enough. And everybody got done watching. It's like,
gross.
That was you guys trying to make this look the best you possibly could?
Right.
And that's what you guys came up with?
God.
I guess I was wondering.
Can you imagine that locker room? Tim Tebow and those guys?
Oh, golly gee, guys.
Yeah.
Was Percy on that team too?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, my God.
I was wondering too. I thought I had seen that Billy Napier had some big, large, giant buyout, but apparently it's only $26 million.
I mean, that's not
which
nothing.
is nothing. And well, in that conference, it is.
Sure, but I mean, it's still. I mean, it's not Jimbo. Like, everybody looks at it in the sense of like Jimbo Fisher's buyout, but it's still not something you want to, deal with.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with
25 million is still 25 million. But there you go. That's our worst day on the web. It's a complete S show at Florida. Beyond Billy Napier right now has got to be thrilled about everything else going on around him, because it's allowed him to kind of sulk into the shadows.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
There's your silver lining. God.
There's no silver
No,
lining
it's
here.
lead.
Oh boy.
Good Lord. All right, coming up next, the Philadelphia Eagles, they can't stay out of their own way. It's something as simple as just maintaining an injury report and being honest, but that's actually a problem now. I'll get to that here next on Danny Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Look, this is probably looking too deeply into things, but when you start, it's one of those things where, like Florida we were just talking about, when you look under the hood because there's some problems, you start looking around at everything else, and more problems become more evident as you start shining flashlights around. Which is why you don't ever want to have the reason to look under the hood in the first place. And we did that to start the season with the full-on profile of the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts basically hating each other, the void of leadership with Jason Kelce leaving the team, Fletcher Cox leaving the team, and you looked at kind of where they were and the dysfunction that was happening. And now they're kind of finding a little bit of rhythm, but then you had Sirianni barking at fans, and now you've got Sirianni and a PR rep for the Eagles being asked by a reporter about the availability and health of Jalen Hurts. And listen to this word salad.
We haven't really seen Jalen be held back for load management before. What was behind that on Wednesday?
Yeah, he's dealing with it was on the injury report, dealing with the ankle, and just making sure we're precautious with everything.
What's wrong with the ankle? He wasn't on the ankle. I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts. It was an ankle?
What's that?
It was the rest.
That was the rest, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem.
I thought you were talking about something else. All right.
Is Jalen dealing with an ankle problem?
No, rest.
That's the old Adam Devine whoopsies.
In other words, yeah, Jalen Hurts hurt his ankle, and we've been lying about it.
Yeah.
It's just, God, I'm so sick and tired of this. Just put people on the bleeping injury report when you're supposed to put them down with what they have, for the love of God.
Nope, never going to get it. And guess what? The team will get fined. It's never going to change. There are so many injuries in the NFL that we have no idea about.
God.
And we're supposed to know. You're supposed to know any guy gets a bag of ice for something. You're supposed to get that. But it's amazing that we find out on the injury report because they put some guys in, they put some guys not on. It is what it is. We have ankle injuries on the Eagles this week. On Wednesday, the day in question, you had Mekhi Becton.
Not Jalen Hurts.
Aeneas Smith, wide receiver.
Not Jalen Hurts.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Those are guys with ankle injuries.
And he knew exactly the whole, I thought you were talking about something else. It's like he's just trying to cover his backside there. It's like you had PR. We went over this, Nick. It was rest.
Yeah.
Air quotes.
In defense of Nick Sirianni, no matter what it was on Wednesday that held him out, this is where the NFL, this is where you get the truth out of it, right? Whether they are not on the injury report, they're fully healthy, ready to go. Nobody is fully healthy, ready to go right now. But limited participation to full participation. That's where you truly learn what's going on with guys. And both Thursday and Friday, Jalen Hurts has been 100% ready to go. He's been a full participant in both days, but he was listed on the injury report for a rest day, as was Saquon Barkley. And the way that those guys play, the hits that they get, there is a ton that's adding up for both of those guys. It's week 10. Of course these guys are going to get dinged up. But the stupidity of saying, oh, yeah, ankle, and then the PR guy going, are you serious right now? He's listed as rest. That is where you can't fix stupid, you can't get out of your way, continues to hurt and haunt Nick Sirianni.
You serious, Clark?
You serious, Clark?
Look, it's to be blunt, this is why the Trailblazers obfuscate the entire process.
Yeah.
And again, they're not the only ones. But that's why you have tendinopathy appear.
Yep.
And that's why Shaden Sharp, there was, between the time he got injured, when the injury report came out on October 5th or 6th, there was no actual update. But what I've been saying for the last 2 weeks, Shaden is working his way back, and that's because of relationships, and that's that side of it, of knowing he's coming back. I know he's coming back, but without the team saying anything, I can't say he's coming back, and he's going to be back in the next day or two, because you need to have something to actually go off of, because that's the way this all works. And the same thing in the NFL, where he's asking that, knowing full well that Jalen Hurts, he's heard from somebody that Jalen Hurts is dinged up. And you get down this path of like, oh, yeah, no, he wasn't actually dinged. And it's just like, why are we doing this game when we know, but we can't say what we know because there's no actual background to fall back on?
Especially with your quarterback, the Justin Herbert play against the Saints is why.
Absolutely ratcheting on his ankle.
They do not want anybody to know that your quarterback is dinged up in any capacity because the first chance that anybody gets,
they're going to ratchet on whatever it is.
Yeah. Whether it's in clear, plain sight, or you try the tush push and you have a pile and a massive humanity.
Boom. Going right for it.
They don't need to know which ankle it is.
It's going for one of them.
They are going to go at both of them, and they're going to try to get him out of the game. That's part of football. And that's why, like, you know, because of sports gambling, everybody's like, yeah, they've got to tell the truth on these injury reports. What are they doing here? What are they here for? Well, you're never going to get an honest assessment. You never will get an honest assessment because the federal government is going to step in. They won't.
Until there's some gambling scheme that comes about because of.
Well, even then, they're not going to step in. They're not going to wreck the NFL because of it. What is going to be the biggest thing that happens out of this? The Eagles are probably they're going to get the Eagles are going to get fined right now.
Yeah.
You know, probably $50,000, which goes to a charity run by the NFL, which probably will be pumped back from a charitable contribution from the NFL to a local Philadelphia area that the Eagles are probably going to match.
Yeah.
And they were going to give that money anyways.
They just do it earlier.
That's where fines go, by the way.
Yeah.
Fines go to charity in the NFL. So, and then the NFL will be like, we fined them. We gave them their slap on the wrist. Federal government, go take a hike. Because the reality of it is they don't care about you, the gambler.
No.
They're already giving you enough. And
my whole pushback on this is when it comes back to bite books. And they have their own hooks into what's actually going on with every team in every sport.
The books know.
But that's part of the problem is that the books know and the public don't.
Yeah.
And that's
that has been the history of sports gambling, folks.
And that's where the interesting part of this. And speaking of, ratcheting on quarterbacks, it's a big time college football weekend.
Huge.
And Indiana getting their first real test taking on Michigan, and some playoff eliminators. Is somebody going to ratchet on old Curtis Rourke's hand as he's making a nice little play out there against Michigan? We'll get to that here in hour number 3 on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, unanimous number 1 Oregon hosting Maryland tomorrow as they look to stay undefeated on the season. 4 o'clock kick on the Big Ten Network. The Ducks are 24-point favorites. Our coverage tomorrow begins at 9 a.m. with the Center and the St. Tailgate Show at noon. It's Ducks Game Day live from outside Autzen Stadium, and stick around throughout the game and after network coverage for the Ducks post-game scoreboard show. Oregon State continuing their journey toward bowl eligibility, hosting San Jose State tomorrow. That's a 12:30 kick on the C-Dub. The Beavers are 3-point favorites. And on the hard court, the Trailblazers wrapping up the road trip tonight in Minneapolis against the Timberwolves. Matisse Thybulle still out, waiting to make his season debut. 6 o'clock tip on K2 Channel 2.2 and Xfinity Channel 302. The Blazers are 12.5-point dogs. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. It's Football Friday on The Fan.
Block somebody!
This is a Football Friday edition of Danny and Dusty.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app, follow 1080 The Fan, and enable push notifications to get the latest on the Ducks, Beavers, Blazers, and more.
Football Friday with Danny and Dusty on 1080.
Take the fight to them.
The Fan.
Hour number 3 here on a Football Friday. Whether you're listening on 1080 AM, watching along on youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan, or twitch.tv/1080 AM The Fan. We appreciate you. We love you for hanging out with us. Dive into some college football. We've got the college football eliminators up and down in the SEC. We got some fun little ball games here, there, and everywhere else. Where would you like to start?
Dude, I think that obviously the college football playoff eliminator games that we have one of them being Georgia Ole Miss.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Army North Texas because, Army.
If they lose, yeah, they're eliminated. Ole Miss, if they lose, obviously they're done.
Yes.
Their schedule has been weak, and they're already on that bubble because if you looked at Ole Miss's schedule this year, they only had 2 games that at the beginning of the year, people were like, all right, LSU and Georgia. Well, they lost to Kentucky.
They had that one come up and snip them.
And it was like, if they lose those 2 games to LSU and Georgia, will they be a playoff team? Well, you had Kentucky in there. They're out. And then if Georgia loses to Ole Miss, you're looking at a 2-loss Georgia team that I do not believe it will eliminate them from the college football playoff. But next week, you've got a rivalry game against Tennessee. And then there is razor-thin margin for error for the Georgia Bulldogs moving forward. So that one is one of them. Obviously, you have Alabama and LSU where they're bringing in another live tiger. The live tiger's name is Omar Bradley. Do you know anything about Omar Bradley?
No.
Do you know who Omar Bradley is?
No.
Anybody know who the actual person Omar Bradley is?
I was going to say, other than it's a badass name for a tiger.
Other than the commander?
Yeah, he was a general.
Yeah, it's where
the
Bradley infantry fighting vehicle comes from.
The United States Army.
Mm-hmm. My next guess was going to be The Wire.
Well, yeah,
that's different Omar.
Omar Bradley also played football with Dwight D. Eisenhower at Army, and he did this little thing that kind of revolutionized our military and got us ready for war. He did the Louisiana maneuvers. They're bringing a tiger named Omar Bradley, and the real Omar. They're bringing him to Louisiana. And this guy is known for doing the Louisiana maneuvers. This is I don't know who this Joe Exotic that they got to bring this tiger in. He's only let 2 escape under his watch.
Only 2.
Only 2.
I feel like that's 2 more than it should be.
That's still 41 less than the rhesus monkeys that escaped from the facility. You guys saw that, right?
Yep.
Yikes.
I was thinking that same thing, Rust. But Danny may get his dream. Did you know that when they stopped doing the live tiger in 2017? Do you know what they used to do as the opposing team was entering the stadium?
Hold it on a chain?
No, they would, because they always keep it in a cage and they would put it on the sideline. They would put it in a cage in the tunnel next to the visiting team's locker room. And when the visiting team arrived, they'd throw in the meat and feed the tiger. So the visiting team would walk by this tiger that's ripping into meat, like covered in blood and like growling and snarling. That's what LSU used to do.
That just feels like I'm not sure that dirty pool is the right word for it, but that sounds like dirty pool.
I love everything about this.
Yeah, I don't know if that's their plan for this week,
Do
but
they get a white tiger so the blood shows up even more?
yeah, that's a wild move, dude.
I love this.
So they got live tiger at this game.
That's like a Jason Segel flex.
And this one
Right?
truly is like eliminator game.
Yes.
Both teams are 6-2. Loser, you're done. Kalen DeBoer is going to get so much criticism if they lose a third game and they do not even make a 12-team playoff at this point. And LSU with Brian Kelly, like they're going to say, "All right, win us a big game, coach." And that would be a death knell for both of those teams as far as their college football playoff hopes. Keeps the other one alive, not just for college football playoff, but an opportunity to play in the SEC championship game as well, because that is a tight race that you're looking at with the SEC and the opportunities to lose. Another one I'm looking forward to is Michigan, Indiana, man.
Yes, this is the one. Like, look, the other games are going to be good. This is the first like so-called test for Indiana now. Unfortunately, Michigan's got a little get out of jail free card, and that Will Johnson is again not playing. They have ruled him out.
They got dinged up on both fronts against Oregon. They were already down. They were down both of their starting corners against Oregon, and they're still going to be down one. I think Amir Hill, they're hoping gets back this week. But this is going to be the first front seven that is a test for Indiana.
And I wonder if Cignetti and Indiana take a little nod from Lanning and Oregon, not necessarily thumbs down, but do they, because of the saltiness around Indiana's run so far, do they try to look to run it up if they can? If they find that they've got the opportunity.
Kurt Cignetti tries to run it up on everyone.
And that's what I think. It's do they continue to try to keep that trend up as a big
they're not
they
gonna stop
suck
that.
FU tour?
They're not going to stop that. There was a graphic going around somebody did of how many of the guys that are your quarterback, leading rusher, most targeted receiver, left tackle, sacks leader, and tackles leader actually started their career at their school that they're playing for now, of the college football playoff contenders. Only Penn State and Alabama have all of those as guys that were recruited to the school and played at the school. Indiana is the only one where every single one of those, except for the left tackle, all but one is from a different school. Their quarterback's from Ohio, leading rushers from Wake Forest. Their most targeted receiver is from St. Francis University, and then their sacks leader and tackles leader are from James Madison. Oregon, by the way, is only Dylan Gabriel and Tez Johnson as the most targeted receiver in their quarterback. Everybody else was recruited by Oregon, not via the portal. For Ohio State, only 3 of those, half of them, were recruited out of high school to go to Ohio State. Quarterbacks from Kansas State, their leading rusher is Quinshon Judkins from Ole Miss. Their left tackle is a transfer from San Diego State.
It just shows you the mercenary nature of what this is and how it's not only like it's not the thing on the outside. It's the thing that the best teams are doing.
Yep. And no doubt about it. Even Georgia, their leading rusher, most targeted receiver, are transferred from Florida
Except
and
for
Missouri.
I was just going to say, except for Clemson.
Well, the Penn State and Alabama, too.
Yeah.
Like Penn State and Bama. Those two all homegrown. But that Indiana-Michigan game, I'm really interested to see. I think Indiana runs away with that game. I don't think they have a problem with Michigan. But how do they operate when they have a really good defensive line in front of them?
How disruptive is it?
A good offensive line, too. Right?
Yeah,
like, that's interesting.
It's not just it's not just what they win. It's how they win, the formulaic nature of it.
I feel like this could have been a much more fun, not only Big Ten season, but college football season had Michigan not taken that big backslide after Harbaugh left and everybody jettisoned the program. You know what I mean?
Yep. Another game that I think people need to keep their eye on and be aware of. Colorado can make a statement tomorrow. They are 6-2. They are in the hunt for the Big 12 championship, but they go on the road to Texas Tech. Texas Tech is really good in Lubbock. Joey McGuire, I believe, at this point, I think he's something like 16-4 or 15-4 at home in his tenure. They're really bad on the road, but if Colorado gets a win here, they could be in the Big 12 championship game when the dust settles, because taking a look at their schedule the rest of the way, they've got a bunch of winnable games. They've got Utah next at home, Kansas and Oklahoma State. Kansas and Oklahoma State have been massive disappointments this year. Utah has been as well. Like, Utah is not a good football team right now.
Yeah, they lost Cam Rising, had a couple other injuries, and it went.
And they get 2 of those at home. They get Utah and Oklahoma State at home. You could see this Colorado team have 1 conference loss. They could go 8-1 in conference play.
How well do you think the Sanderses will handle the balled up tortillas getting tossed at them?
That is going to be an eye opener for them.
Here's the interesting thing about
it's
this.
relentless, guys. Doesn't stop.
And
and it's going to be. It might be a little bit cold there too. Like, I don't know what it would be like.
Oh yeah, so you get those wet and then they're cold too on top of it.
Cold tortilla just chucked at you for 3.5 hours. It's an experience.
Come from Colorado, you're used to the snowballs.
It comes from the band area.
You got snowballs, but the snowballs still explode once they hit you. That's a rock hard tortilla, man.
No, these things just kind of like go.
If you had to ballpark it, how many tortillas do you think get tossed during a typical Texas Tech home game?
A couple thousand.
No, I don't think it's that many. I think.
Are we hitting 4 digits? Are we hitting 1,000?
No, I think you're closer to like 500.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but you don't know when they're going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, the first time. The first time is on the first time they kick off. Like, the field is actually.
Well, those ones are just going to toss them like frisbees, right?
You may get up to 500 on that one right there. So I'm going to say you're probably around like 700 or 800.
Okay.
But think about how many other tortillas that's like 200 to 300 other tortillas that are coming out, and you don't know when they're just flying at you.
There's probably food banks all over the area going, "What are you guys doing here?"
Yeah,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, local raccoons very happy though.
I bet little trash pandas.
Those little trash pandas
they
are
delight.
And then I got one game that's keep an eye on. Keep an eye on it. It all depends on if Georgia Tech's quarterback is going to be available for them. But Georgia Tech is hosting Miami.
I was going to ask you about that one. Does King, does he get a little? Does he make it spicy enough?
Well, I mean, if he's available, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
because this is the kind of game that the the Canes have willingly stepped into. You're talking about tiger traps.
Mm-hmm.
This is the kind of game that they've jumped headfirst into.
Yep, and Haynes King, if they don't have their quarterback, I mean, that's a big one. They're also 2 running backs are hurt. King has a shoulder injury. He's missed 2 games. If you don't have him, you're not.
Haynes King sounds like a country club kid.
He's a redneck.
But if
in the best possible way.
if he is available, then that could get spicy.
I like that.
That could get spicy.
All right, speaking of spicy, we've got the man, the myth, the legend, Jeremiah Coughlin, sitting outside the studio right now. He's got a show coming up, and so we wanted to come in, do a little promotion, come out, hang out, talk some sports with us. We'll get to that here coming up next year on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
Fart Hammer.
Hammer himself, Jeremiah Conklin, live and in studio. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Red
We
button.
just got to turn our red lights on.
Sorry,
here.
sometimes I forget my
Turn our
producer
red lights on.
duties.
It's okay.
The lights are on.
Well, when Paul Simon is
Nobody's
playing, nobody's going to hold you accountable,
No,
Jeff.
we know that you're going to be tapping that imaginary hood.
I am.
In the office there.
Absolutely.
Jeremiah Conklin joining us in studio. You are playing at
Helium Comedy Club.
When?
The 11th on Veterans Day.
There you go.
Monday,
A little salute to troops.
11/11. Yeah. You get half price tickets if you are a veteran, actually.
Oh,
So
do I?
yeah. VET 50, VET 50 at checkout, and you get half price tickets.
Do I have a
It's
game?
not just performing, headlining the Helium Comedy Club.
Headlining the Helium
Let's go.
Comedy Club. Yeah, it's exciting. I get to do it like once a year, and I'll take it locally. And
It's a big deal, though, right?
yeah,
Like when you get to headline like in your club.
yeah, it feels great. It's
Right?
the best club. I've worked a lot of clubs in this country, and it's probably the best to me. And to top 5 to a lot of people that aren't like beholden to it. I just love it because it's mine. But if it wasn't mine, I would still love it. People love coming here, and it's a great room for comedy. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad you clarified that because if somebody just got in their car right now and you're like, I work a lot of clubs across the country.
Lot of clubs.
They thought you may be a male stripper.
And we basically have the same job. It's just we get up on stage and be like, who here likes me?
Have you ever gotten tipped for comedy?
Oh yeah.
You get
Yeah.
tipped?
What,
Yeah.
Wait, am I
in
wrong
money?
for not tipping?
Yeah. No. You're doing fine.
Okay.
But actually, like right before lockdown, we instituted like a QR code system where it was like, hey, if you like the jokes, and like handed them out before the
Yeah.
show. My buddy Nathan Brannon was like came up with that, and I was like, this is a great idea. And you just print out like 1,000 QR codes and put them on every table, and you get like, I think one night I got like $150.
Whoa!
Yeah.
that is that's a good little hack. So you are like a stripper,
A little bit,
except
yeah.
for not with singles.
Not,
If I came up and I just threw a single on the stage, that would probably be frowned upon though, because you're supposed to stay seated.
Yeah, I have had. There was a show right at the very end of lockdown in the Mill in Coos Bay. It was going very poorly for me, and I hadn't done comedy in a while. It was going pretty rough, and there was a older gentleman got up and walked to the stage and handed me $100 bill and said, "I'm sorry this is happening to you," and that was yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, because it was they were still shutting down a lot of the town, and so just everybody was coming to the casino.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I used to do a joke about it where I have an ex-wife, but I don't talk about her on stage because she wasn't funny. And I said that in this room as I'm bombing, and like a different old guy from the back of the room yelled out, "Then you two were perfect for each other."
That must have been like the hardest time for comedy too, because people were so tightly wound, and then
There's a lot going on, yeah.
and then it got to the point where everybody's like, "No, we actually need to laugh," and then virtual shows started popping up, and then like you had drive-in movie theater type places doing stand-up
didn't
shows.
Kreischer and Segura, didn't they kind of pioneer the whole like the drive-in thing?
Yeah, we were doing an open mic here that was like it was you tuned into like an AM transmitter. And
oh, no kidding!
Yeah,
shortwave radio.
Yeah, and just people parked, and you stood up there, and you did your comedy, and then people were supposed to honk instead of laugh. It was a little weird.
So I'm a little curious.
Wait, so that's how you know if you're bombing is if like you're like,
silent
these
honks.
cars are very quiet.
Somebody else with a little bit of a local tie here, who appears like on Ian Carmel's podcast frequently and whatnot. Zach Toscani has taken to doing the home show tours. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea. I'm very jealous of him. If anybody wants me to come to their house, because they also always have like an amazing spread.
I did notice that. Yeah, he likes to post the pictures of the food.
37 pounds of barbecue brisket also. So yeah, sign me up.
And it seems like he has a great time doing it.
Yeah, I think that's it's great. I think it's once you establish that sort of grassroots where you're doing that, then you're kind of on your way. But getting that where you got to get the word out, and it's hard enough just to get work in clubs and everything else.
Would you rather do an in-home show or a corporate show?
Well, I've done some bad of both. Like I've done shows in people's houses. I've done birthday parties and stuff like that. So very
For children?
The strippers is very close. No, for adults. And then
You dress up like a police officer and knock on the door.
it's Danny DeVito and Friends when he does that. Anyway.
Can somebody call a plumber? I'm here to check your pipes.
Yeah. Nothing like that. But then I've also done comedy like in a doctor's office in the like Saturday morning for a birthday thing, and they were very nice people, but they were, I mean,
different audience.
I've heard
I've
heard a lot of the corporate gigs, they don't know often a comedian is even coming, so they don't know really what to expect. But a birthday party, they're there to have a good time.
Yeah.
And they're there to party, and they often know, hey, we got a comedian coming. So that would probably be an easier room.
Have you ever been sprung on an audience before?
Well, I mean, I feel like most of the shows you do when you start doing comedy are sort of ambush. We call them ambush shows, where everyone's there like, oh, the game's over, turn it off, and now there's a comedy show, and you just came here to like talk to your friend that you haven't seen in 5 years, and now we're gonna make you listen to comedy. But no, like as far as like personal booking stuff, nothing like that. There has been kind of like a surprise party situation, but that's I mean, again, it's your birthday. Someone like is doing this for you,
and they probably have a good understanding, at least generally, of what they would or wouldn't like.
Yeah. And I have a bunch of like holiday party stuff coming up. By the way, if you work for a company that has a holiday party budget, give me a shout.
Yeah, let's go.
Love to do it. So yeah, I mean, there's like a couple of IT places in Tiger that reached out, and we're gonna do like their holiday party, so that'll be fun.
That's great.
Yeah, I know. I think not the worst, but like the toughest one, I did the Reserve Golf Course. We did the holiday party there once, and that was kind of like, it was just
different crowd.
Well, there was just a definite delineation of the people who like worked in.
I bet maintenance loved you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, not even bet like
you know what I'm saying?
That definitely has a Bill Murray Caddyshack kind of vibe. Like
the wait
you got a
staff
pool
and the
and a
cooks
pond's
too.
good
I
for
bet.
you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But like the head pro is probably like,
yeah, it's just it's a different.
You get
different kind of group.
Yeah, that is.
There's some stuffed shirts in there.
I've always wondered because like in an office setting, everybody has like a loud laugher. Is
I love them.
You love the loud laugher.
I love a good
cackle. Ours just left.
There's yeah, that's right. A loud laugh, it can derail some comedians though.
Yeah, I've seen that happen before. I've seen some people get kind of upset. I actually saw a lady get kicked out of a comedy show for laughing once.
No,
having too much fun.
Having too much fun.
Like a person is enjoying your set so much.
See, that makes me judge the comedian.
Oh God,
exactly.
Yes.
I won't tell you who it was, but I vowed from that day forward, because I was the opener on that show, and I was like, I will never treat anybody poorly for having too much fun.
Yeah, you enjoy what I'm doing so much that you can't contain yourself. You must leave.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between like people that just drink and then
being disruptive,
physically can't stop talking. Where they're just like,
that's annoying.
It happens, but it's part of the job.
Has anybody called you Sammy Hagar? I cackled when I saw that bit that you have as part of the teaser on your socials for.
Yeah, that was in Eugene. Yeah, some dude came up to me. He was like, I didn't know I was going to see Fat Sammy Hagar tonight. Yeah. He did. He sounded like Hank Hill, too. He was like, hey, feller, I don't know.
Damn it,
like
Bobby.
Fat Sammy Hagar.
That boy just ain't right.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, Sammy Hagar's fat.
Oh, God.
He's like, not that fat, brother.
What a ridiculously bold thing to come up to somebody you do not know.
But at least it was funny.
Say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna be bold, be funny.
You're wearing a hat today. How long? We have a flow off between you two.
Oh, yeah, it's getting there. I actually got it cut. I got it cut like 2 weeks ago just to trim it back.
Yeah.
It's like in a weird in between phase, but it's getting better.
You want to stick around, stay with us through the break?
Let's talk about the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got a show coming up, and we've got plenty more to get to. We'll get to that and more coming up next. But here's the Big Kahuna with the Sports Center update.
Big Kahuna.
You ever had a Big Kahuna burger?
This is a Football Friday edition of Danny and Dusty.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
Now, Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust here with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, unanimous #1 Oregon hosting Maryland tomorrow as they look to stay undefeated on the season. Those Ducks are 24-point favorites. 4 o'clock kick on the Big Ten Network. Our coverage begins at 9 a.m. tomorrow with the Center and the St. Tailgate Show. Then at noon, Ducks Game Day live from outside Autzen Stadium. And stick around throughout the game and after network coverage for the Ducks post-game scoreboard show. Oregon State continuing their journey toward bowl eligibility, hosting San Jose State tomorrow. It's a 12:30 kick on the C-Dub. The Beavers are 3-point favorites. Bills coach Sean McDermott ruling out rookie receiver Keon Coleman Sunday against the Colts due to a wrist injury. Amari Cooper questionable with a wrist injury of his own. And in the association, the Trailblazers wrapping up their road trip tonight in Minneapolis against the Timberwolves. Matisse Thybulle still out, waiting to make his season debut. It's a 6 o'clock tip on K2 Channel 2.2 and Xfinity Channel 302. The Blazers are 12.5-point dogs. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now, Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's window into 1080 The Fan.
Live and in studio, Jeremiah Coughlin. He's got a show at Helium Comedy Club Monday, Veterans Day. What time?
8 p.m.
Where can people get tickets?
You can go to jeremiahcoughlin.com. You could go to, it's Helium.
Portland.heliumcomedy.com.
That's it.
Yeah.
It always confuses me. But
Yeah,
there's
they've got a lot of
Because there's
heliums,
multiple
yeah.
locations.
Yeah, you got to put the Portland in first. But if you just Google Helium, my name.
You are headlining.
Yeah.
Opener, host. Who do you got?
Yeah,
who's joining you?
Megan Otto, who's she's great. She's kind of newer at stand up locally and doing a great job. I think this will be one of her first host jobs at the old Helium Comedy Club. And then Dylan Jenkins, him and I basically started together. He's been one of the guys that's opened for me all over the place. He's
Sweet.
Great guy. Fantastic human being, very funny. Yeah, that's it. That guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's lost over like 100 pounds.
No way.
And he looks so amazing. And he just started walking.
So
He's
he came in with you here the first time you guys came in here when we got him in the studio. That's
that
right.
was a long
When
time
you
ago.
were gone.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Dylan.
I gotta point you out because you're never here
Friend
when
of the
Jeremiah
program.
comes in.
It's
I think
not
I must have been gone
coordinated.
too.
It's not a coordinated effort.
Yeah, what do you got?
Yeah.
What do you got against
Nothing.
me,
I love
Dusty?
you, man.
He's just
I love
always
you.
if he's not here, he's footballing.
I'm footballing
He's got a lot
very
of
hard.
footballing to do.
Okay, yeah. I do.
High school and college.
I
Yeah.
noticed that
Football
wasn't you
everywhere.
drawing up plays in the lobby, though.
No,
No,
actually-
that's not my play. I didn't draw it up, but I named it because we
I
have
liked
it.
Yeah.
That Joe Fish out there
He's like,
drawing it up.
he's like, we have these concepts, so I'm just going to use our
Yeah,
our,
I mean,
our
this is what we call
name
it.
for it.
This is what the name is, and you can steal it.
I figure it was you or maybe Souk, but it was Fish, I guess.
Yeah.
Souk caught me eating a sandwich over the parking lot when he came in. Actually, I was out there. I was just eating. You know when you used to get drunk and eat over the sink.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
eating over a parking lot is that times a
I
million.
mean,
Yeah, I know how I used to do that.
yeah, last weekend.
Oh, I formerly did that.
Oh, you mean Suit getting out of his car in his Brazilian jiu-jitsu gear, looking at you eating a sandwich in the parking lot?
Yeah, he was eyeballing me.
Did he want to like
go Lady and the Tramp on it and have a little bite of my Jersey Mike's?
I was thinking go for like a rear naked chokehold, but
Maybe.
Lady the Tramp is a much better visual. I'm a little meatball sub just meeting in the middle.
I'd pay for that.
He's a good guy. We're buddies.
Oh man. So wait, 100 pounds, and you guys are on the road a lot. Like you're everywhere.
Everywhere. I know.
You're gone a lot.
I am. Someone just brought that up last night. Where like, you did this thing where you said you went to Chicago, and then you said you went to Vegas, and you said you went to Alaska, and I was like, yeah, I've been to all three of those places, plus Tucson since September. Like in the last 8 weeks, I've gone to all of those.
Oh God!
places.
Wow.
So
How hard is it to keep a schedule like that? Like I just feel like I would go insane trying to keep up with travel like that.
No, I mean it's not too bad. It's just you got a calendar and you just got to Google calendar. I used to try to do an actual paper calendar. No,
Wasn't working.
No, you got to have it in you. You got to have it on you at all times. You got to have the ability to edit it. All of that.
Responsible adult.
Google really helped.
Random question for you, and this is coming
Yeah.
from a quasi place of experience. Have you ever been thrown out of a place? Of all the places that you traveled to?
Current, like for doing comedy? Just in general.
Just in general. Like,
No, I mean, I quit drinking 10 years ago. I mean, we can talk about that, but I haven't been kicked out of a place since then. You know, I mean, I got kicked out of a kind of a crappy karaoke bar in Wilmington, Delaware, for taking my shirt off. They got all mad. They started playing Cotton Eye Joe.
Wait,
And
how?
So I was like,
and-
well, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to take my shirt off and swing it over my head.
It's like laughing at a comedy show.
Yeah.
How can
I'm
you do
a
that?
Red-blooded American. Cotton Eye Joe comes on. This tarp's coming off, and I'm going to swing it over my head. And then they were like, put your shirt back on. And so I was like, so I did. And then I took it off again, and they got mad.
Oh, it's the second
I think
one.
it was the second. Yeah, it was always, the second.
It's always the second time you take your clothes off.
Did they recommend a place you could go and take your shirt off? Because I mean, I feel like,
They're like, we have
as
some
you're
birthday
escorting, you'll be like,
parties.
Is there a Cotton Eye Joe friendly location?
You need to go down to Dale's. That place, they'll let you take off your shirt and they'll play Cotton Eye Joe at 11 o'clock on the dot.
That would be great. I would show up, but no. But yeah, I haven't been kicked out of anywhere. I mean, I'm pretty well behaved most days.
He's
most of
house
the
trained
time.
now. He's house trained now.
Yeah. Well, quit drinking. I just posted a thing about that. The Sober October. Did you guys ever do Sober October?
No.
I got a thing where I think it's for tourists.
I think I made it to the second once.
You made it to this October 2nd? Yeah. It's like, if you think you need to quit drinking for 30 days, you probably need to quit drinking. So, But yeah, I'm
That
sober.
is
I
true.
gotta. I'm actually doing a recovery recovery comedy for people in recovery by
Oh, that's
people
awesome.
in recovery. Next Friday in Vancouver, Washington, at the
Drinks in the back.
the RV and Style Convention Center, not the amphitheater.
Oh,
the
wait,
convention
there's a
center.
second
Convention
building?
Center.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
there's a
there's
big building. Off
I was
to the
not
side.
aware.
I've always wondered what that is.
It's a convention center.
No
they
idea.
do like MMA fights in there and comedy and
Really?
all kinds of conventions.
Is it like the same exit?
No, I don't know where the amphitheater is, but the amphitheater's further north. This is like in Vancouver. It's
Okay.
like in Salmon Creek, I think.
All right, look at that.
Yeah.
Wow, RV in style.
They're taking over. They're taking over.
I think I maybe
Fist
went to
on
that place and
sponsorships.
saw an MMA show like years ago. I remember going to one
I
somewhere
would-
in Vancouver with my old
Unsanctioned like
roommate.
barbed wire match.
Okay.
Hell in a Cell.
I need to know more about the Jeff Rust MMA fights version of you.
Is this
because there
was this
is
Paige Van
nothing-
Zandt before she was doing other things?
Like-
I think this was pre-marriage even, so we're talking we're going like a quarter century ago, pretty much.
Yeah, I think they do like Northwest Cage Warriors or something like that there, because we were in little negotiations because of what I do for the Pickles. They're like, would you like to come do this for the MMA fights?
So instead of
Yeah.
pickles.
Yeah, it'd be like punch him.
I
or
like
something.
it.
I don't know. And then, but I was too busy. I couldn't do it.
With
but-
the amount of testosterone in that building,
yeah, you don't want a microphone and a smart mouth.
you, yeah. I mean, if a relief pitcher gets mad that you're yelling, keep him in.
I know.
Imagine what the dude when you're yelling,
Yeah.
knock
Choke him
him out.
out.
Yeah.
That guy is going to not. That's not going to go well.
I
And
know.
the thing that you need to worry about is his idiot friends that are
That are
there
there.
watching.
That are there at the fight.
You're like, hey, bro, that's my buddy, bro.
Well, they probably also all have cauliflower ear.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like all of those events. Like I used to work at the arena in Tri-Cities where I grew up, and anytime we did like the Tough Man amateur boxing thing, there was always more fights in the audience
Yep.
than there is in the ring because of like alcohol and testosterone and all
So
of
it's a
that.
Dodgers game.
Yeah. It's very similar to that. I think they should just in the baseball and football stadiums, they should just make a section where violence is acceptable. And
You're preaching to the choir right now.
You just buy a ticket. Like if you're gonna wear your Rams jersey, and I'm gonna wear my Raiders jersey, and if we get out, because I went to the old L.A. Coliseum when they played the Eagles, and there was a lot of violence around us. There was a lot of violence.
The only thing holding that back is the NFL's ability to monetize it.
Yes,
Now,
they had
if
to
you
find a
have
way.
Well, you gotta pay
cameras
more for the
fixed,
ticket,
if you
yeah.
have cameras fixed in there where they can sell, like, it's almost like Red Zone. Like, hey, we got a
Yeah.
fight. We got a fight going on in Indianapolis.
They cut to the
Yeah,
cameras.
They go to the cameras of the fight section.
That's
All
a
right,
good
we're
idea.
we're up against it now, so let's make sure everybody knows.
Oh,
Monday
yeah.
night
We gotta go?
at Helium.
I got a tea time at 3:30.
Look at that. It's unfortunate we don't have more time because you've become like the more of a golfer than anybody I know now.
This is like the last day.
This is it.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is like
the
the
last-
I'll
yeah.
see you in April.
It's
most
gonna
likely.
it's gonna
Yeah.
rain for the next 6 months.
So we'll have to circle back and bring you back in your golfing
Or
adventures.
go golf at Langdon where they have tremendous irrigation.
Yay.
But you're
rubbish.
playing Monday night, November 11th at
Helium Comedy
Helium.
Club.
You are the headliner, and
November
you can go.
15th in Vancouver if you're sober.
There you go. And then where can everybody go to get tickets and find out more information?
Yeah, Portland Helium Comedy, JeremiahCoughlin.com. Follow me on Instagram. I need more Instagram.
There you go. Follow
followers,
him on
people.
IG.
Just go. It's just my name, Jeremiah Coughlin. You can find me. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you.
Hey, what's the promo code for vets? Vets.
Vet 50.
Vet
VET
50.
50 at checkout. It's on the
Half off
honor
at Helium.
system, everybody.
That's
so
veterans, not veterinarians.
Yeah.
too.
Don't be a d-hole and
on
take advantage of veteran
the
discounts.
veterans.
Either way, I don't care. Just show up.
Just show up.
to the show.
All right,
honestly.
and with that, we'll be right back and get ready to hand you off to Isaac and Suk here on Dan and Dusty 10 of the Fan.
Thanks, boys.
today. Go see him on Monday down at Helium, and then on the 15th down in Vancouver. It's always great to have Jeremiah pop in, and there's a lot more stories that we didn't get to.
Yeah, we're going to have him on again because
Yeah.
he has some great MMA. He's got some great MMA stories.
Some great bathroom stories.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Wow.
There you go.
This is already the close music?
Yeah, this show flew by.
We ran a little late there.
All right. Well, we'll have a Football Monday recap. We got a lot of football going on, baby. Let's go.
A lot of basketball, too.
Yeah.
Try and deal with it.
I mean, what, you talk about another couple losses?
Yeah, that's what everyone wants.
All right, up next, you got 4 hours of power from their mouths to your ears. It's Prime Time with Isaac and Suke. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye. All of the Midwest corn.
Are you not entertained? Check out the Fan Merch Locker.
Here's the situation.
With a new iconic long sleeve tee.
It's over, we think.
And a must-have hoodie in your favorite college colors.
Football's football. Football's football.
Football's football. Of course, you can still pick up the classic fan tee and the special edition Mike Lynch